This is 1004.7 FM, and you're listening to what remains of our emergency broadcast system. My name is Daniel Rothman, and I've been behind this microphone for the better part of 16 hours now. The clock on the wall reads 6:47 a.m. Thursday morning, though I'll be honest with you, time has started to lose meaning in ways I never thought possible. I should start from the beginning. For those of you just tuning in, for those of you who managed to get a radio working, for those of you hiding in basements or attics or wherever you found shelter, I need to bring you up to speed on what we know, what we think we know, what we're trying to understand. Approximately 19 hours ago, during yesterday morning's rush hour, something happened in the downtown corridor near 15th and Morrison. Multiple incidents, all happening within minutes of each other, people collapsing, violent outbursts. Emily, my assistant, she's been fielding calls all night. She told me around midnight that the first reports came in around 7:15 yesterday morning. Commuters on their way to work. A woman in a blue sedan attacking other drivers at a red light. A man in a business suit who fell to the pavement outside a coffee shop, convulsing, and then got back up and went after everyone nearby. The initial assumption was some kind of coordinated terrorist attack. Chemical weapons, maybe. Nerve gas? The police scanner was chaos. Every unit in the city responding to different locations, all reporting the same impossible things. People acting rabid, attacking without provocation, exhibiting strength that didn't make sense for their size or age. I'm going to be straight with you because that's all I have left to give. Honesty. The authorities don't know what's happening, or if they do, they're not telling us. The last official statement from the mayor's office came at 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Martial law. Shelter in place. Avoid all contact with anyone showing signs of aggression or illness. That was 14 hours ago, and we haven't heard anything since. The phones here at the station have been ringing non-stop. Emily has been taking notes, trying to organize the information into something coherent. We've heard from people all over the metropolitan area. The pattern is consistent, and it's spreading. Someone gets violent, attacks others, collapses, appears dead, and then gets back up. Changed. Not human anymore, not in any way that matters. I've been a broadcaster for 23 years. Started in college radio, worked my way through sports coverage, morning shows, eventually landed here doing news and traffic. I've covered hurricanes, floods, the transit strike of 2019, the heat wave that killed 47 people, and I thought I'd seen everything this city could throw at me. I was wrong. Emily just handed me another update. The National Guard established checkpoints at all major highway exits around 9 p.m. last night. They're not letting anyone leave. The official reason is containment and public safety. What that actually means, I don't know. She's also telling me that cell service is intermittent at best. The networks are overloaded, people trying to reach loved ones, emergency services completely overwhelmed. We've got our backup generators running. The main power grid failed around 3 a.m., just went dark across 6 districts. No explanation, no warning. Through the window here on the 14th floor, I can see fires burning in at least a dozen locations. Some of them have been going for hours. I don't hear sirens anymore. That's what's really getting to me. The absence of sirens. This is a city of 3 million people, and right now it sounds like a tomb. Let me tell you what we've been able to piece together from the calls, from the reports, from the few email messages that have gotten through before the internet became unreliable. Yesterday morning, multiple joggers and cyclists were using the Riverwalk path that runs alongside the industrial district. There's a section near the old Merriweather processing plant where storm drains empty out from the commercial zone. Several people reported a strange smell. Chemical, acrid, made their eyes water. Most of them kept going, didn't think much of it. By 7 a.m., these same people started experiencing symptoms, headaches, nausea, disorientation. Then came the aggression. Unprovoked, sudden, extreme violence. A jogger named Callaway Brennan, Emily has his wife's frantic message from yesterday afternoon. He attacked 3 people in the parking lot of a grocery store before police arrived. When they tried to restrain him, he fought with inhuman strength. Took 4 officers to hold him down. He died in the ambulance on the way to St. Catherine's Hospital. Cardiac arrest, they said. 32 years old, marathon runner, perfectly healthy until yesterday morning. 20 minutes after he was pronounced dead in the emergency room, he got up, attacked 2 nurses and a doctor before security managed to lock down that section of the hospital. That's when the hospital called us, called every news station, called everyone, trying to understand what they were dealing with. St. Catherine's wasn't the only hospital reporting these incidents. Mercy General, Northside Medical, the Trauma Center on Lexington, all of them started seeing the same pattern. Violent patients, sudden death, and then reanimation. Except what came back wasn't the person anymore. Emily's been compiling descriptions from medical staff who managed to get messages out. The reanimated individuals show no recognition of their surroundings, no response to verbal commands, no apparent reasoning ability. They're driven by what appears to be pure predatory instinct. The television stations went off the air around midnight. One by one, they just stopped broadcasting. I've been switching between channels during the breaks, nothing but static or emergency broadcast tones. We might be the only station still transmitting in the entire region. The AM stations went silent hours ago, FM stations dropping off one after another. It's just us now, as far as I can tell. I want to talk about the pharmaceutical angle because I think it's important. Emily got a call around 10 p.m. from someone who wouldn't give their name, said they worked at Brenna's Pharmaceutical Corporation. You probably haven't heard of them. Small operation, been struggling financially for years. This person, let's call him a whistleblower, told Emily that the company had been conducting experimental trials on a new class of neurological stimulants, drugs designed to treat degenerative brain conditions. The trials were unsuccessful, produced severe adverse effects, and the project was terminated 6 months ago. According to this source, the company couldn't afford proper disposal of the experimental compounds. We're talking about hundreds of pounds of chemical powder, failed batches, contaminated materials. So they did what desperate people do when they're trying to cut costs and avoid oversight. They dumped it. Late night runs to the municipal landfill on Hargrave Road, mixed it in with regular waste, figured it would just degrade naturally, become someone else's problem. But here's where it gets worse. The landfill on Hargrave Road sits at a higher elevation than the surrounding area. When it rains, and we had heavy rain 2 nights ago, runoff from that site flows directly into the storm drain system. The same storm drains that empty out along the Riverwalk, the same location where all those joggers were yesterday morning. I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you the exact chemical process that might have occurred, but Emily found research papers online, before the internet started failing, about how certain pharmaceutical compounds can become more volatile when mixed with organic decomposition. Something about the bacteria in rotting waste interacting with synthetic molecules, creating aerosol particles that become airborne when disturbed by water flow. Those joggers breathed it in, got a concentrated dose of whatever chemical nightmare was created in that runoff. And now we're seeing the results spread through the city like a contagion that doesn't follow any rules we understand. The government response has been, to put it mildly, inadequate. The mayor's statement yesterday afternoon mentioned federal assistance, emergency management protocols, but we haven't seen evidence of any coordinated effort. Emily's been monitoring police and emergency channels when she can get a clear signal. What she's hearing doesn't inspire confidence. Officers abandoning their posts, emergency responders refusing to enter affected areas. The whole infrastructure that we depend on for crisis management is collapsing in real time. There was a brief transmission from the governor's office around 8 p.m. yesterday. Audio only, poor quality, talking about evacuation zones and safe corridors, but no specific information about where people should go or how they should get there. Then the transmission cut off mid-sentence and hasn't resumed. I've been thinking about what to tell people listening. What advice can I possibly give that might help? The standard emergency protocols don't apply here. This isn't a hurricane where you board up windows and wait it out. This isn't a flood where you move to higher ground. This is something we have no framework for understanding. Emily just brought me coffee. It's cold. We brewed it hours ago before the power went out, but it's caffeine and I need it. She looks exhausted. We both are. She asked me if I thought anyone was actually listening, if anyone out there still has working radios, still cares about what we're saying. I told her I had to believe they were, because if I stop believing that, if I stop talking into this microphone, then what's the point of any of this? The sun is coming up now. I can see the light changing outside, that pale gray that comes before true dawn. From up here, the city looks almost normal. Buildings standing, streets laid out in their familiar grid. But I know what's happening down there. The reports keep coming in. Emily's getting messages on her personal phone, texts from friends, from family members of station employees, all describing the same nightmare. The infection, if that's what we're calling it, spreads through bites. That much seems clear from the pattern of reports. Someone gets attacked, gets bitten, and within hours they're showing the same symptoms. Fever, delirium, violence, death, reanimation. It's following a predictable progression, which should make it easier to track, to contain. But the sheer number of incidents is overwhelming any attempt at organization. I mentioned earlier that the National Guard set up checkpoints. What I didn't mention is that according to several callers who tried to leave the city last night, The soldiers at those checkpoints aren't letting anyone through who shows any signs of injury. Doesn't matter if it's a bite or a scraped knee or a bruise from a car accident. If you're bleeding, if you're hurt, they turn you back. In some cases, Emily's been told they're using lethal force, shooting people who try to push through. Families with children, elderly couples, doesn't matter. The orders are absolute. This raises questions I don't have answers for. How far does this contamination extend? Is it just our city, or has it spread to neighboring areas? What about the rest of the country? The world. We've had no contact with national news networks since early this morning. The satellite feeds are down. Internet is barely functional. We're operating in complete informational isolation. I tried calling my brother in Denver around 4 a.m. Couldn't get through, just dead air. Tried my ex-wife in Seattle, same thing. Either the phone networks are completely overloaded or something has happened on a much larger scale than we realize. That's the thought that keeps creeping into my mind, the one I'm trying not to focus on. What if this isn't localized? What if yesterday morning in cities all across the country, people were breathing in contaminated air, getting infected, spreading it to others? Emily's shaking her head at me. She says I shouldn't speculate like that on air. She's probably right. But I'm tired, and I'm scared, and I think the people listening deserve to hear someone being honest about how little we actually know. Let me share some of the specific reports we've received. These are from people who called in or sent messages before communication became too difficult. A woman named Tallulah Prescott called from the Riverside Apartments around 11 p.m. She'd been hiding in her bathroom for 6 hours. Said she could hear things moving in the hallway outside her unit, scratching at doors, moaning inhuman sounds. She watched through her peephole as her neighbor from across the hall, a man named Beaumont Stroud, stood in the corridor swaying back and forth. She said his skin looked gray, his eyes were vacant. He had blood on his shirt, on his hands. He just stood there for nearly an hour before finally shambling away toward the stairwell. Another call came from someone at the Grandview Shopping Center. This was around 1 a.m. The caller identified himself as Langston Mercer, said he was locked inside a sporting goods store with about 20 other people. They'd been trapped there since yesterday afternoon when the attacks started happening in the parking lot. He described seeing groups of the infected wandering between cars, attacking anyone they found. Said the infected seemed drawn to noise, to movement. When people ran, the infected gave chase. When people stayed still and quiet, sometimes the infected would pass by without noticing them. This is useful information. If you're listening, if you're trying to survive this, stay quiet. Don't draw attention. The infected, and I'm going to keep calling them that because I don't know what else to call them, they appear to hunt primarily through sight and sound. Maybe smell, we're not sure yet. But loud noises definitely attract them. There's been discussion, Emily's seen it in some of the message boards that are still functioning, about whether these are actually dead people walking around or if it's some kind of disease that just makes people appear dead. I don't think it matters. The practical reality is the same. They're hostile, they're dangerous, and they will kill you if given the opportunity. The morgue at St. Catherine's Hospital sent out a desperate message around 2 a.m. They'd been overwhelmed with bodies from yesterday's incidents, more than they could handle. They were storing them in refrigerated trucks in the loading dock area. According to the message, the bodies started reanimating. All of them. Didn't matter how long they'd been dead. 30 minutes, 3 hours, didn't matter. They all came back. The morgue staff barely escaped. The entire lower level of the hospital is now considered compromised. Think about the implications of that. Every person who died yesterday from any cause, in any location, potentially coming back. The nursing home on Ashland Avenue, the hospice center downtown, the cancer ward, the ICE, all of those people, all of those deaths that happen in a city every single day, all of them now adding to the infected population. Emily just told me she got a text message from her roommate. This was 15 minutes ago. Her roommate, Bertie Llewellyn, she's been holed up in their apartment across town. She says the building's maintenance man, Garrison Webb, he turned sometime during the night, started attacking residents on the 3rd floor. People are barricading themselves in their units. Bertie's asking Emily what she should do. What do I tell Emily to tell her? Stay quiet? Wait for help that might never come? Try to make a run for it? This is the impossible position we're all in now. Every decision could be the one that gets you killed. Stay put and hope you're not found. Move and risk encountering the infected. There's no good choice anymore. Just varying degrees of terrible options. The fires I mentioned earlier, they're growing. I can see them more clearly now as the sky gets lighter. The warehouse district is burning. Has been for hours. No one's putting it out. The fire department isn't responding. Either they can't or they won't, or they're all dead. Take your pick. The smoke is starting to drift this way. I can smell it even from up here. Chemical, acrid reminds me of burning plastic. I want to talk about the science again because I think understanding even partially might help people process what's happening. Emily found some information about the Brennus Pharmaceutical Corporation before we lost reliable internet access. They were working on something called neurological regeneration therapy. The idea was to stimulate damaged neural pathways, help restore function in patients with degenerative conditions. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, traumatic brain injuries. The experimental drug, they called it compound BRN7. It was designed to hyperstimulate cellular reproduction in brain tissue. In theory, beautiful. In practice, catastrophic. The trial showed that the compound didn't discriminate between healthy and damaged tissue. It stimulated everything, caused massive neural overgrowth, tumors, seizures. Patients became violent, lost cognitive function, experienced total personality disintegration. The company shut down the project, but they'd already produced massive quantities of the compound. Now imagine that compound, unstable and dangerous even in controlled laboratory conditions, sitting in a landfill for months, breaking down, recombining with bacteria, with organic acids, with whatever chemical soup exists in decomposing waste. Then rain activates it, creates an aerosol, and people breathe it in. What we're seeing, the aggression, the death, the reanimation, it could all be explained by catastrophic neural damage, followed by some kind of primitive brainstem function persisting after clinical death. The infected aren't truly dead in the traditional sense. Their higher brain functions are destroyed, but the primitive systems, the ones that control movement, basic survival instincts, those might still be operating. This is speculation, understand? I'm not a doctor, but it makes a horrible kind of sense. And if it's true, it means the infected aren't supernatural. They're not zombies in the movie sense. They're people whose brains have been destroyed by chemical exposure, reduced to predatory animals operating on instinct. Does that make it better or worse? I can't decide. The government, what's left of it, they must know about Brennus Pharmaceutical. They must have investigators looking into this. But we haven't heard anything. No official explanation. No acknowledgement of the source. Just silence and increasingly desperate warnings to stay inside. Emily's trying to reach the station manager, Cordell Thatcher. He left yesterday afternoon, said he was going to check on his family in the suburbs. We haven't heard from him since. His phone goes straight to voicemail. Same with our program director, same with half the staff. They're either dead, infected, or in hiding. It's just me and Emily now, keeping this station running on backup power and sheer stubbornness. I should mention the water situation. Several callers have asked about whether the water supply is safe to drink. We don't know. The municipal water department hasn't issued any statements. If the contamination was limited to storm drain runoff, then the treated water supply should theoretically be safe. But I can't promise that. I can't promise anything anymore. Food is going to become an issue soon. The grocery stores were looted yesterday afternoon and evening. People panicking, grabbing whatever they could. Emily's been monitoring social media when possible, and the posts that are getting through show images of empty shelves, broken windows, abandoned shopping carts, and parking lots. The supply chain is completely broken down, no deliveries, no restocking. Whatever food people have now is all they're going to have until this situation resolves itself. If it resolves itself, I'm sorry, that's not helpful. I need to maintain some semblance of hope here. For you, for Emily, for myself. This can't be the end. Humanity has survived plagues, wars, natural disasters. We're resilient, we adapt. This is just another challenge, just another crisis to overcome. But it's hard to believe that when I look out the window and see smoke rising from a dozen different fires, when I hear the generators struggling to keep running, when I realize that we might be the last radio station broadcasting in a city of 3 million people. Emily just showed me something on her phone, the video that someone posted about an hour ago. Taken from a high-rise apartment downtown. You can see the streets below, and they're filled with infected, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, just wandering aimlessly. Some alone, some in group. The person filming is narrating, their voice shaking, saying they've been watching all night as the numbers grew. Every hour, more infected appearing, and not just from new attacks. People who died yesterday, their bodies left in the streets, getting back up and joining the crowd. The video shows one of them, a woman in a torn business suit, standing beneath a streetlight, just standing there swaying slightly. Then a car alarm goes off somewhere nearby and she jerks toward the sound, starts moving with sudden speed, and all the other infected in the area do the same. They converge on the car, attacking it, trying to get inside. You can see them clawing at the windows, beating on the hood. The video cuts off before we see what happens. This confirms what Langston Mercer told us from the shopping center. Noise attracts them. Movement attracts them. If you're going to survive, you need to be invisible, silent and still. The military presence in the city, such as it is, seems to be concentrated around key infrastructure. The hospital complexes, the government buildings, the power plants. But they're not venturing into residential areas, not attempting rescues, not clearing infected zones. They're in defensive positions, holding what they can hold, abandoning everything else. I keep wondering about the rest of the world. Are other countries dealing with this? Did Brennus Pharmaceutical have international operations? Were there other disposal sites, other contamination events? Or is this localized to our region? The lack of information is almost worse than the situation itself. At least if we knew the scope, we could understand what we're facing. Emily's trying to get through to the CDC. She's been attempting to call their emergency hotline every 30 minutes since midnight. Nothing. Just automated messages saying all lines are busy. She tried the WHO. Same result. Either they're overwhelmed with calls from around the world or there's no one left to answer. I'm going to take a brief pause here. Emily and I need to check the generator fuel levels, make sure we can keep broadcasting. The backup tanks should last another 48 hours if we're careful. After that, I don't know. We'll figure something out. We have to. Stay with us. Stay safe. This is Channel 4.7 FM and I'm Daniel Rothman. We're back. It's 7:23 a.m. The sun is fully up now, and I wish I could say that daylight makes things better. It doesn't. If anything, it makes the situation more visible, more undeniable. From our position here on the 14th floor, I have a clear view of probably 30 city blocks. I can count at least 40 individual infected just in my line of sight. That's not including the ones inside buildings or in areas I can't see. Emily just came back from checking the generator. She looks pale. I asked her what's wrong, and she told me she could hear them in the stairwell. The infected below us, maybe around the 7th or 8th floor, scratching at doors, moving around. The building wasn't secure. People fled yesterday, left doors propped open, left access points vulnerable. Now they're inside. We're going to have to barricade this floor, use furniture, equipment, anything we can find. But first I need to continue broadcasting. As long as we have power, as long as we have signal, I'm going to keep talking. I want to address something that I've been avoiding, the question of whether this can be reversed. If someone gets infected, if they turn, is there any way to bring them back? Based on everything we've seen, everything we've heard, the answer is no. Once the transformation happens, once that person dies and reanimates, they're gone. The individual they were, their personality, their memories, their humanity, all of it is destroyed. This is important for people to understand because you might be tempted to try to help someone who's infected, someone you care about. A family member showing symptoms, a friend who got bitten, you might think you can restrain them, keep them safe until help arrives. Don't the moment they turn, they will try to kill you. There's no recognition, no remnant of the person they used to be, just the predatory shell that remains. Emily's crying. I shouldn't have said that. Her roommate Bertie, the one I mentioned earlier, Emily just got another text. Bertie says she thinks she was bitten yesterday. During the initial panic, someone bumped into her. She felt something sharp, didn't think much of it. But now her arm is swollen where it happened. She's running a fever. She knows what it means. Well, what do you say to that? What words of comfort exist for someone who knows they're going to die and come back as a monster? Emily's typing a response, her hands shaking. I can't imagine what she's writing. I can't imagine being in Bertie's position, knowing what's coming, counting down the hours. This is the human cost. This is what gets lost in the big picture analysis, in the talk about contamination zones and infection vectors. Real people with real lives, real relationships, all being destroyed. Bertie Llewellyn is 26 years old. She works as a graphic designer. She has a cat named Ptolemy. She volunteers at the animal shelter on weekends. And in a few hours, none of that will matter anymore. I need to focus. I need to provide useful information, not wallow in despair. Let me tell you what we know about surviving encounters with the infected. This is compiled from multiple reports, multiple sources. First, they're attracted to noise. Loud sounds will draw them from considerable distances. If you need to move, do it quietly. No running unless absolutely necessary. No shouting. No music or alarms or anything that creates sound. Second, they're attracted to light at night. Several people reported that the infected seem drawn to lit windows, lit doorways. If you're hiding after dark, stay in darkness. Use blackout curtains if you have them. Minimal flashlight use. Third, they exhibit pack behavior. When one infected finds prey, others nearby will converge on the location. This means that even if you successfully fight off one infected, you might immediately face several more. Avoid confrontation if at all possible. Fourth, they're physically strong and seemingly immune to pain. Multiple reports of infected sustaining injuries that would incapacitate a normal person, but continuing to attack. Broken bones, lacerations, doesn't matter. They keep coming until catastrophic damage to the brain or complete destruction of the body. Fifth, and this is critical, headshots are effective. Destroy the brain, the infected stops. This has been confirmed by multiple sources, including some of the police officers who've been in direct confrontation. If you have a weapon, if you're forced to fight, aim for the head. I feel like I'm narrating a horror movie, but this is real life. This is actual tactical advice that might keep someone alive. Emily got another message. This one from someone claiming to be at the Rayburn Medical Center across town. They say the hospital was overrun around 5 a.m. Infected got into the lower floors, spread through the building. Staff and patients tried to evacuate to the upper floors, but there weren't enough security personnel to hold the stairwells. Last count, about 60 people made it to the roof. They're trapped there now, waiting for helicopter rescue that isn't coming. The message asks if we know anything about military evacuation plans, if there are safe zones being established, if anyone's coordinating relief efforts. I have to tell them I don't know. We're as isolated as they are. The information flow has completely stopped. No official communications, no emergency management updates, nothing. This is what the collapse of civilization looks like. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just slow dissolution of the systems we depend on. Communication fails, authority fragments. People retreat into isolation, trying to save themselves and their immediate circle. The social contract that holds society together just dissolves. I'm watching the street below. There's a city bus stopped at an intersection. Doors open, empty. It's been sitting there for at least 12 hours based on when I first noticed it. Just abandoned mid-route when the driver either fled or died or turned. It's a perfect symbol of where we are now. Infrastructure rendered meaningless. The normal flow of daily life completely arrested. Emily's phone battery is at 15%. We have charging cables, but with power intermittent, she's trying to conserve energy. Every message she sends might be the last communication with someone. Every call that goes through might be the final conversation. I told her to prioritize, talk to family, tell the people who matter that you love them. Everything else can wait. She's calling her parents now. They live 2 states away. I'm trying not to eavesdrop, but in this small booth, privacy is impossible. Her father answered, "They're okay. They've seen news reports about our city, but their area seems unaffected." Emily's telling him what's happening here, and I can hear the disbelief in his voice. He's asking if this is real, if she's exaggerating. She's crying again, telling him it's all true, telling him to be careful, to watch the news, to stay safe. The conversation is breaking my heart. This might be the last time she talks to her parents. She knows it. They might know it too, even if they're not admitting it. I need to talk about something else. Let me give you more information about the timeline of infection. Based on the reports we've compiled, here's what seems to happen after exposure. Initial exposure to the airborne contaminant causes immediate symptoms: headache, nausea, disorientation. This happens within minutes. Then comes the behavioral changes: aggression, paranoia, loss of impulse control. This phase can last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. For people infected through bites rather than airborne exposure, the timeline is different. The bite wound becomes inflamed quickly. Redness, swelling, intense pain. Fever develops within an hour. Delirium follows, then unconsciousness. Death occurs anywhere from 3 to 6 hours after the bite. Reanimation happens between 10 and 30 minutes after death. Why is the airborne exposure different from bite transmission? We don't know. Maybe it's concentration. Maybe the compound is more potent when introduced through broken skin directly into the bloodstream. Maybe there are multiple strains of the contamination with different properties. Without laboratory analysis, which obviously isn't happening right now, we're just guessing. What we do know is that both exposure methods result in the same end state: death and reanimation, creating more infected, spreading the contagion further. The exponential math is terrifying. Yesterday morning, maybe a dozen people were initially exposed along that river walk. By yesterday afternoon, hundreds were infected through bites and attacks. By yesterday evening, thousands. Today, looking at the streets, there might be tens of thousands of infected in this city alone. By tomorrow, if the spread continues at this rate, there might not be any uninfected people left. Unless containment is established, Unless someone somewhere manages to stop this, and Emily's off the phone. Her parents made her promise to try to get out of the city, to find a way to the National Guard checkpoints and get through somehow. I told her I'd support whatever decision she makes. If she wants to try to leave, I won't stop her. But I'm staying. Someone needs to keep broadcasting. Someone needs to maintain this link to whoever's still listening. She says she's not leaving without me. I told her that's foolish, that she has her whole life ahead of her, that there's no reason for both of us to die here. She just gave me this look, this defiant, exhausted look, and said that if we're dying, we might as well die doing something that matters. I don't know if what we're doing matters. I don't know if anyone's actually listening, but I'm grateful not to be alone. The temperature in the studio is dropping. The heating system runs on the main power grid, which is still down. The generators keep the lights and broadcast equipment running, but they don't power the HVAC. It's probably 60 degrees in here now. Not unbearable, but uncomfortable. By tonight, if the power doesn't come back, it'll be much colder. Small problems becoming bigger problems. That's what happens when infrastructure fails. The things we take for granted, heating, cooling, clean water, food supply, all of it becomes uncertain. Even if we survive the infected, we might not survive the breakdown of basic services. I'm looking at the schedule board. Yesterday's programming is still listed. Morning drive time show, midday talk radio, afternoon music block, evening news, all of it irrelevant now. The normal world has ended, and we're living in whatever comes after. Emily just got a text from someone at the Bridgeport Apartments. They're organizing a supply run to the convenience store 2 blocks away. 20 people total. They're going to move in a group thinking there's safety in numbers. They want to know if that's a good strategy. I don't know. My instinct says that a large group means more noise, more commotion, more likely to attract infected, but a single person alone is vulnerable. Maybe the middle ground, 3 or 4 people, moving quickly and quietly. But I'm not a survival expert, I'm a radio host. Everything I know about this situation I learned in the last 19 hours. I told Emily to tell them to be careful, to stay quiet, to have an escape route planned. Generic advice that probably won't help, but it's all I can offer. The sun is bright now, clear sky, beautiful day. Temperature outside is probably in the mid-50s. Perfect autumn weather. People should be out jogging, walking dogs, sitting in cafes. Instead, the city is a morgue, a hunting ground, a place where the normal rules of existence have been suspended. I can see movement on the roof of the building across from us. Someone's up there, waving, trying to get attention. I can't tell if they're asking for help or just acknowledging our presence. There's probably 50 yards between our buildings. Too far to communicate except through gestures. They're holding up a sign. I can barely make out the words. How many alive? How do I answer that? How many people are still alive in this city? Yesterday there were 3 million. Now? Thousands? Hundreds? I don't know. I raise my hand, give a thumbs up, trying to convey optimism I don't feel. They return the gesture and disappear back from the edge of the roof. Small human moments in the middle of catastrophe. Someone just wanting to know they're not alone. I understand that impulse completely. Emily's asking if we should try to reach out to other radio stations, see if anyone else is still broadcasting. It's a good idea. We have the equipment to scan frequencies. If there are other stations still operating, maybe we can coordinate, share information, create some kind of communications network. I'm adjusting the receiver now, scanning through FM frequencies. Static, static, emergency broadcast tone, more static. Wait, something on 91.3. It's faint, but it's there. Music. Someone's playing music. Classical. Sounds like Beethoven. No announcer, no commentary, just music. Maybe it's automated. Maybe it's someone's last act, putting on music for whoever's left to hear it. Continuing the scan. 95.7, nothing. 98.2, nothing. 10, sure, 1.5, there's something. A voice. Male, older, speaking Spanish. I don't speak Spanish well enough to follow everything he's saying, but I catch words. Peligro, danger, quedarse adentro, stay inside. Dios nos ayude. God help us, so we're not the only ones. There are others still trying to maintain communication. Emily's writing down the frequencies where we're picking up signals. Maybe later, if we have time, we can try to make contact. For now, it's enough to know we're not completely alone in this. I'm switching back to our own frequency. If there are people listening to Puno 4.7, I don't want them to think we've abandoned them. Continuity matters. Reliability matters. When everything else is chaos, a constant voice on the radio might be the only stable point someone has. It's 8:15 a.m. now. I've been broadcasting for about 17 hours total with brief breaks. I'm exhausted but too afraid to sleep. Afraid that if I close my eyes, I'll wake up to find the infected have reached our floor. that Emily will be gone, that the generators will have failed. Better to stay awake, stay alert, keep talking. Let me tell you about what's happening in other parts of the city based on the messages we're receiving. The industrial district where this all started is completely overrun. No survivors reported in that area in the last 6 hours. The infected seem to have concentrated there, maybe drawn back to the contamination source, maybe just random clustering. Either way, if you're anywhere near the industrial zone, you need to leave immediately. The financial district downtown is in slightly better shape. Several high-rise buildings have survivors who've barricaded the upper floors. They have the advantage of elevation, can see threats approaching, can secure stairwells, but they're also trapped, no way down without going through infected territory. They're hoping for helicopter rescue, but as I mentioned earlier, we haven't seen or heard any aircraft since yesterday afternoon. The residential suburbs are a mixed situation. Some neighborhoods organize quickly, set up barricades, establish watch rotations. Those areas are holding. Other neighborhoods fell apart in the initial panic. People fled. Doors were left open. The infected wandered in freely. Those areas are lost now. Emily got a message from the Willowbrook community. They've blocked off their streets with cars and construction barriers. About 300 people sheltering in place. They're asking about water purification methods, about how to ration food, about medical supplies, practical questions about long-term survival. This is the shift that's happening. Yesterday was about immediate survival, about getting through the next hour. Today, people are starting to think about tomorrow, next week, next month. How do you sustain life when the systems that supported civilization have collapsed? I don't have answers to most of these questions. I can tell them to boil water if they're not sure about the source. I can tell them to ration carefully, that 2,000 calories per day is sufficient for most adults. I can tell them to keep wounds clean to prevent infection. But beyond basic advice, I'm useless. What they need is expertise. Doctors, engineers, agricultural specialists, people with actual knowledge about sustaining human life without modern infrastructure. What they have is me, a radio host with a liberal arts degree and 2 decades of experience reading news copy. But I'm trying. Emily and I are both trying. We're compiling information, organizing it, sharing what we learn. It's better than nothing. Maybe it'll be enough to help someone survive. The group from Bridgeport Apartments, the ones planning the supply run, they've set out, someone's sending Emily updates. 20 people moving down the street together, too loud, I'm thinking. They're going to attract attention, but maybe they'll be okay. Maybe the infected in their area are sparse enough that they can get to the store and back without incident. I'm watching the clock. They left 5 minutes ago. The store is 2 blocks away. Should take 10 minutes there, 10 minutes to grab supplies, 10 minutes back, half an hour total if everything goes smoothly. Let me talk about the long-term implications of what's happening. Assuming some people survive, assuming we get through this immediate crisis, what kind of world are we looking at? The power grid is failing. Without people to maintain it, without fuel deliveries to power plants, we're looking at complete electrical failure within days or weeks. That means no refrigeration, no lighting, no communication systems. Water treatment plants will fail. Without electricity to run pumps and filtration systems, clean water stops flowing. People will have to rely on wells, rivers, rainwater. Boiling or chemical treatment becomes essential. Waterborne diseases will become a major threat. Food production and distribution has already stopped. Grocery stores are empty or inaccessible. Industrial agriculture requires fuel, equipment, coordination. All of that's gone. People will have to rely on whatever they've stockpiled, whatever they can scavenge, whatever they can grow or hunt. Medical care is essentially over. Hospitals are compromised. Pharmaceutical supplies will run out. People with chronic conditions, people who need regular medication, they're in immediate danger. Insulin for diabetics, blood pressure medication, antibiotics, all of it has a limited shelf life. This is what the end of the world actually looks like. Not a dramatic explosion, not a sudden catastrophic event, just the slow degradation of everything that makes modern life possible. And I haven't even mentioned the psychological impact, the trauma of watching people die and reanimate, the stress of constant danger, the isolation of being cut off from normal human society. People are going to break. Some already have. Emily's received messages from people talking about suicide, about giving up, about just walking outside and letting the infected end it quickly. I don't know what to say to those people. The standard platitudes about hope and perseverance feel hollow, but I try anyway because what's the alternative? Let them give up? Let them die without at least trying to convince them that life is worth fighting for? 8:35 a.m. The supply run group should be at the store by now. No updates from them? That's probably fine. They're busy focused on getting what they need and getting back. I'm just anxious looking for things to worry about. Emily's scrolling through her phone reading messages that came in overnight while we were focused on other things. A lot of them are just people saying goodbye. Last messages to loved ones they can't reach. Messages to us, to whoever might read them, testifying that they existed, that they mattered. One message is from a teacher at Glendale Elementary. She's locked in her classroom with 15 students. Their parents never came to pick them up yesterday. She's been keeping the children calm, telling them it's an extended sleepover, that their parents will come soon. But she knows the truth. She's asking what she should tell them. How do you explain the end of the world to a 7-year-old? I can't answer that. I don't have children. I don't know the right words. Emily's writing a response, something about being honest but gentle, about maintaining routine and structure, about letting them feel their feelings. It sounds good. I hope it helped. This is breaking my heart. 15 children who might never see their parents again, who might not survive the week, who've had their innocence destroyed in the most brutal way possible. If there's any justice in the universe, someone will rescue them. Get them somewhere safe. Give them a chance at a future. But I don't believe in justice anymore. Not after the last 19 hours. 8:45. Still no update from the Bridgeport group. They should have been back by now. Emily's trying to reach the person who was sending updates. No response. I'm trying not to assume the worst, but the silence is ominous. I'm going to keep broadcasting, talk about other things. Give them time. Let's discuss the infected themselves, their behavior, their capabilities, what we can learn about them that might help survival. They seem to retain basic motor skills, walking, running, climbing. Some reports suggest they can open doors, though whether this is problem solving or just random manipulation of objects, we don't know. They don't appear to use tools or weapons beyond their hands and teeth. Communication between infected is minimal. They don't talk, don't coordinate in any sophisticated way, but they do respond to each other. When one infected spots prey and moves toward it, nearby infected will follow. This creates the pack behavior I mentioned earlier. They don't eat the people they kill. This is important. Multiple witnesses have confirmed that infected will attack, kill, but then move on without consuming the body. This suggests the aggression isn't driven by hunger in the traditional sense. It's purely destructive violence. Bodies of the killed will reanimate regardless of how they died. Doesn't matter if the death was from infected attack or from other causes. This implies that the contamination is airborne and widespread. Everyone who's been in the city in the last day or two has probably been exposed to some degree. The bite just accelerates the process. This is the terrifying conclusion. We might all be infected already. The compound might be in our systems dormant, waiting. One person suggested that maybe the bite introduces a catalyst that activates the dormant infection. Maybe when we die, from any cause, we'll turn. Maybe there's no such thing as an uninfected person anymore. I can't think about that too much or I'll lose my mind. I have to operate on the assumption that some of us are clean, that survival is possible, that this can be contained and reversed. 8:55. Emily just got a message, not from the Bridgeport group, from someone else in that complex. They watched from a window. The supply run went bad. The group made it to the store fine, got inside, started gathering supplies, then infected appeared. Lots of them, drawn by the noise of 20 people moving together. The group tried to fight their way back. Some made it, most didn't. The person messaging us says they counted people returning. 12 are unaccounted for. 12 more people dead or infected. 12 more families destroyed, because they needed food and water and basic supplies to survive. This is what it comes down to. Every action has mortal stakes. Going outside to get food is a life or death decision. Everything is risk calculation now. When does hunger outweigh danger? When do you accept the chance of death in exchange for resources? Emily's crying again. She knew some of those people, not well, but she'd met them at building social events. They were her neighbors in a broad sense. Now they're gone, and she blames herself for not giving better advice. I told her it's not her fault. We're doing our best with incomplete information. But I understand the guilt. Every piece of advice we give might get someone killed. Every recommendation might be the wrong one. How do you live with that responsibility? 9 a.m., 3 hours since sunrise. The fires in the warehouse district are still burning. I can see smoke columns rising into the clear sky. The whole industrial area might burn to the ground. There's something poetic about it, the contamination source being purged by fire. But fire doesn't discriminate. It'll destroy useful resources along with the tainted ones. I need to update you on resource availability because this is becoming critical for survivors. Based on messages we've received, here's the situation. Grocery stores in most areas are empty or too dangerous to access. The ones that aren't completely looted or surrounded by infected, not worth the risk. Gas stations are similarly compromised. Fuel is available if you can get to it, but most stations are in commercial areas with high infected activity. Plus, without electricity, the pumps don't work. You'd need to manually extract fuel from underground tanks. Pharmacies were hit hard during the initial looting. Prescription medications are mostly gone. Over-the-counter drugs might still be available in some locations. Medical supplies like bandages and disinfectant are scarce. Hardware stores, sporting goods stores, places that might have useful tools or weapons, those were also targeted early, but they're large, often in less populated areas, might still have resources if you can get to them safely. Residential areas are your best bet for supplies now. Abandoned homes, apartments where people fled or died, food in pantries, water in pipes, tools in garages. The ethical question of looting is meaningless when survival is at stake. Emily's asking if I think law and order will be restored, if police and military will eventually clear the infected and return things to normal. I want to tell her yes. I want to believe it, but I don't. The scale of this is too large. The infrastructure has collapsed too completely. Even if the infected were all eliminated tomorrow, we're looking at years of rebuilding. Maybe decades, and that's assuming the infection is limited to our region. If this is happening in other cities, other countries, then civilization itself might be over. We might be witnessing the extinction of organized human society. 9:15. Emily just screamed. I turned to see what was wrong, and she's pointing at the security monitor. We have cameras covering the main entrance to the building and the stairwells. On the stairwell feed, I can see them, the infected, climbing up, multiple figures, shambling, stumbling, but ascending steadily. They're around the 10th floor now, 3 floors below us. We need to barricade. Now, I'm going to continue broadcasting, but Emily and I need to secure this space. If anyone's listening, if anyone out there is still alive, remember what I've told you. Stay quiet, stay hidden, don't give up. We're moving the equipment racks to block the door. Heavy metal shelves full of old broadcast gear. It's creating a barrier, but I don't know if it'll be enough. The studio door is solid, has a good lock, but if there are enough of them pushing, it might not hold. Emily's checking the windows. We're 14 floors up. No escape route that direction unless we want to die on impact with the pavement. We're trapped here. This studio is now our fortress and potentially our tomb. I can hear them now. Through the walls, through the door. That sound, the low moaning, the shuffling footsteps. It's one thing to hear about it in reports. It's entirely different to hear it getting closer. My hands are shaking. I'm trying to stay calm, trying to keep my voice steady for anyone listening. But I'm terrified. This is how it ends, I'm thinking. Trapped in a radio station, broadcasting until the infected break through. Emily's holding a fire extinguisher. That's our only weapon. A fire extinguisher and whatever heavy objects we can throw. Against how many infected? We saw at least 5 on the security feed. Could be more. The scratching at the door just started. They've found us. They're on this floor testing the barrier we created, trying to get in. The moaning is louder now. Multiple voices, if you can call them that. Inhuman sounds from human throats. I'm going to keep broadcasting. If this is the end, if Emily and I don't make it through the next hour, I want there to be a record. I want people to know we tried, that we stayed at our posts, that we did everything we could to help whoever was listening. The barricade is holding for now. The door hasn't been breached, but they're not leaving. They know we're in here. They can probably hear my voice, hear us moving around. We're trapped by our own broadcast. Emily's asking if we should stop transmitting, go silent and hope they lose interest. It's a valid strategy, but I can't. As long as we have power, as long as we have the ability to reach people, I'm going to keep talking. This is bigger than our individual survival. 9:30 a.m. The scratching continues. Constant maddening, like rats in the walls. But these rats used to be people. Might have walked past this building 100 times on their way to work. Might have listened to this station. Now they're trying to kill us. I'm looking at Emily, and I can see the fear in her eyes, but also determination. She's not giving up. Neither am I. We've survived this long. We can survive a little longer. Let me tell you about hope. Real hope, not the empty platitude kind. Hope based on the fact that humans are remarkably resilient, that we've survived ice ages and plagues and wars and disasters of every kind, that somewhere out there people are adapting, organizing, fighting back, figuring out how to live in this new reality. Maybe they're building secure communities, maybe they're developing strategies to clear infected zones, Maybe they're working on understanding the contamination, finding a cure or treatment. Maybe they're just enduring one day at a time, refusing to give up. That's what we have to hold on to. The belief that humanity will persist, that this isn't the end, just a terrible chapter in a longer story. The banging on the door is getting more intense. They're not just scratching anymore, they're hitting it, throwing their bodies against it. The barricade is shaking. I don't know how long it'll hold. Emily's moved to the corner farthest from the door. She's got the fire extinguisher ready. I've picked up a microphone stand, heavy metal, better than nothing as a weapon. If they get through, we'll fight. Not much else we can do. I'm thinking about my life. 45 years. Not a bad run, all things considered. I've had love, loss, success, failure. I've told stories, made people laugh, informed the public. It's been meaningful. If it ends today, I can accept that. But I'd rather it didn't end. I'd rather survive, see what comes next, contribute to whatever society emerges from this disaster. So I'm going to fight if it comes to that. 9:45, the door is cracking. I can see splits in the wood. The barricade has shifted. Maybe 5 more minutes before they break through, maybe less. Emily's praying. I didn't know she was religious, never came up in casual conversation, but now, facing death, she's whispering words I can't quite hear, seeking comfort from faith. I don't judge, everyone needs something to hold on to. I'm not religious myself, but if there is a God, if there's any cosmic justice, I'd ask for protection for the innocent, for those children at Glendale Elementary, for Bertie Llewellyn facing her transformation alone, for everyone who didn't deserve this, who were just living their lives when everything fell apart. The door just splintered. A hand came through, gray skin, broken nails, reaching blindly. Emily screamed. I hit the hand with the microphone stand, and it withdrew. But there's a hole in the door now. They'll make it bigger. This is it. This is the moment where I find out if I'm brave or a coward, if I can face death with dignity or if I'll fall apart. I'm still talking into the microphone, still broadcasting. My voice is steady even though my hands aren't. That's something. That's professional pride carrying me through terror. 10 a.m., the hole in the door is wider. I can see faces now. Empty eyes, slack mouths, the faces of the dead animated by something that shouldn't exist. They're pushing through the barricade, crawling over the equipment we piled up. Emily's beside me now. We're making our stand together, 2 people against a force we can't possibly defeat. But we're going down fighting. The first one is through, squeezing past the damaged door. It's a woman, or was. Torn clothing, blood-stained. She's coming toward us with jerking movements. Emily sprays the fire extinguisher. The white foam hits the infected in the face, and it doesn't even slow down. I swing the microphone stand, connect with the infected's head. Solid hit. She stumbles, falls, but she's getting back up. They don't stay down. You have to destroy the brain, I remember saying that earlier. Easier said than done. 2 more are coming through. A man in a security guard uniform, a teenager in a hoodie. Both dead-eyed, both moving toward us with single-minded purpose. I hit the security guard. Emily hits the teenager with the extinguisher. We're fighting for our lives in a radio booth 14 floors above a dying city. The woman I knock down grabs my leg. I feel her teeth try to close on my calf, but my jeans are thick. I kick her away, hit her again with the stand. This time I aim carefully. The heavy base catches her temple. Something cracks. She stops moving. 1 down, 2 still coming. How many more behind them? Emily's backed into the corner. The teenager has her pinned. She's trying to keep the fire extinguisher between them, but it's running out. The white foam is sputtering. The infected is reaching around it, grabbing at her. I charge across the room, hit the teenager from the side. We both go down. I'm on top of it, trying to keep its teeth away from me. The smell is overwhelming. Decay and chemicals and something indescribably wrong. Emily's hitting it with the empty extinguisher, bringing it down on the infected's head repeatedly. The skull caves in. The thing stops moving. 2 down. The security guard is still coming, but he's slower than the others. Damaged somehow, 1 leg dragging. I can work with that. I let him get close. Then I go low, take out his working leg. He falls. I bring the microphone stand down on his head. Once, twice, 3 times. He stops moving. 3 down. We're both panting, covered in blood and foam. The hole in the door is still there. More infected could come through any second. But right now, this moment, we're alive. Emily's checking herself for bites. I'm doing the same. Scratches, bruises, but no broken skin. We're okay. We survived. The broadcast is still going. The microphone picked up everything. The sounds of fighting, the impacts, Emily's screams, my heavy breathing. Anyone listening heard it all. Heard us fight for our lives in real time. I should say something. Address the audience. but I'm too exhausted, too overwhelmed. I just sit down back against the wall and try to remember how to breathe normally. Emily's crying and laughing at the same time. The hysterical relief of survival. I know the feeling. We should both be dead right now. Instead, we're here, traumatized but alive. We need to reinforce the barricade, make sure no more get through, but first I need a minute, just a minute to process what just happened. 10:15 a.m. We've dragged the bodies away from the door, piled more equipment against the opening. It's not perfect, but it's better. The scratching has stopped. Either there are no more infected on this floor or they've lost interest. For now, I'm back at the microphone. My voice is ragged, but I can still talk, still broadcast, still maintain that connection to whoever's out there. If you're listening, if you heard what just happened, let it be a lesson. The infected can be killed. It's difficult, it's dangerous, but it's possible. Aim for the head. Use whatever weapons you have. Don't give up. Emily and I survived because we fought back, because we didn't freeze in terror, because we had each other. If you're alone, find other people. There's strength in numbers. Don't try to survive this in isolation. I need water. My throat is raw from shouting, from breathing hard. Emily passes me a bottle from our emergency supplies. It's warm, but it's wet. I drink half, save the rest. We don't know when we'll be able to get more. The adrenaline is wearing off. I can feel every bruise, every strained muscle. I'm going to be sore tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. If the infected don't break through again. If the generator doesn't fail. If 100 other things don't go wrong. But for now, we're alive. The broadcast continues. And that's a victory, however small. 10:30 a.m. Emily's trying to repair the door as best she can. We found some tools in the storage closet. Hammer, nails, spare wood panels. It's not going to hold against a serious assault, but it might discourage casual investigation by infected. I'm monitoring the security feeds. The stairwell is clear. The ground floor shows movement. Multiple infected wandering the lobby. We're not getting out of here anytime soon. This building is our prison now. But it's a prison with food, water, and power. There are worse places to be trapped. We can survive here for days, maybe weeks if we're careful. Eventually we'll run out of supplies or the generator will fail, but that's a problem for future Daniel and future Emily. Present Daniel and present Emily just need to get through today. I'm getting messages on Emily's phone again, people wanting to know if we're okay. They heard the attack, heard the silence after, thought we were dead. I'm telling them we survived. We fought and we survived. Trying to inspire hope, trying to show that resistance is possible. Someone's asking how many infected we killed. 3. I tell them. It took everything we had and we were lucky, but we killed 3. Proof that they can be stopped. Another message asking if we're bitten. No, I confirm, we checked thoroughly, we're clean, we're still human. There's relief in that statement, still human. That's the measure of success now. Not career achievements or financial status or social standing, just the simple biological fact of remaining human. Emily's done with the door repair. It looks rough, but it's secure. She's exhausted. I told her to sleep. One of us needs to stay alert, monitor the feeds, keep broadcasting. I can manage for a while. I've gone longer without sleep before. She's protesting, saying she's fine, but I insist. She needs rest. We both do, but we can't both sleep at the same time. Not with infected in the building. Someone needs to keep watch. She finally agrees, lies down on the floor using a jacket as a pillow. Within minutes, she's asleep. The deep sleep of complete exhaustion. I'm envious, but I have work to do. 10:45. The city is quieter now. Yesterday, there were still occasional sounds, sirens, car alarms, distant gunfire. Today, nothing. Just wind and the crackle of fires and silence. The silence of a dead. How many survivors are left? How many people listening to my voice? Hundreds? Dozens? A handful? I have no way of knowing. The isolation is profound. I'm thinking about the future again. What happens after the immediate crisis? Assuming survival, assuming some semblance of order is restored, what then? The psychological trauma will be immense. Everyone who lives through this will be scarred. PTSD, depression, survivor's guilt, will need mental health support on a massive scale. But where will that come from when the mental health professionals are dead or infected? Communities will have to reform around new principles. Survival first, everything else second. Democracy, freedom, individual rights, all of those will be luxuries. Authoritarian structures will emerge, strong leaders making hard decisions. That's how humans respond to existential threats. There will be violence between survivor groups, competition for resources, territorial disputes, The breakdown of law means the strong will prey on the weak unless communities organize to prevent it. And overarching all of that is the question of whether we can ever eliminate the infected. If they're truly dead, if they don't need food or water, they could persist indefinitely, wandering the ruins of cities for years, making reclamation impossible. Maybe the solution is abandonment. Leave the cities to the infected. Retreat to rural areas where population density is lower, where the contamination might not have spread. Start over in small agricultural communities. Medieval living standards for the survivors of modernity. It's a grim vision, but it might be realistic. 11 a.m. 4 hours since sunrise. The day is dragging. Time moves differently when you're trapped and afraid. Hours feel like days. Emily's still sleeping. I'm monitoring the cameras, the radio frequencies, the messages coming in, trying to stay alert despite my own exhaustion. A message from the Rayburn Medical Center. The people trapped on the roof, they're still there, still waiting for rescue. They've been up there for 18 hours now. No food, limited water. Starting to lose hope. Asking if we've heard anything about evacuation efforts. I have to tell them no. No rescue is coming, no helicopters, no military operation, nothing. They're on their own. I suggest they try to clear the stairwell themselves. It's dangerous, but waiting is just slow death. I don't know if they'll take the advice, I don't know if they'll survive, but at least I'm being honest with them. Another message from Willowbrook community. Their barricades are holding, they've organized security patrols, established a rationing system for food and water. 300 people working together. It's the kind of organization that might actually survive long term. They're asking about agriculture. Can they grow food? What plants grow quickly? How much land do they need? I don't know. I'm not a farmer, but Emily found some gardening information online before the internet became completely unusable. She gave them links, instructions. This is what survival looks like. People helping each other, sharing knowledge, building structures to replace the ones that collapse. I'm proud of what Emily and I are doing here. We're not fighters or leaders or experts. We're just two people with a radio transmitter and a desire to help. But it matters. It has to matter. 11:30, a new sound outside, distant but distinct. Helicopters. Multiple rotors. I rush to the window, look up. There they are. Military helicopters flying in formation, heading south toward the government district. Are they evacuating officials, bringing in reinforcements? Conducting reconnaissance? I don't know, but it's the first sign of organized military activity I've seen since yesterday afternoon. Emily wakes up. She heard them too. We're both at the window now, watching the helicopters disappear into the distance. For a moment we felt hope. Someone's doing something. We're not completely abandoned. Then reality reasserts itself. Even if the military is active, even if they're planning some kind of operation, it doesn't help us right now. We're still trapped, still in danger, still isolated. But it's something. It's evidence that the world hasn't completely ended. That somewhere people in authority are trying to respond. I'm back at the microphone, reporting what we saw. 3 helicopters, military markings, heading south. Anyone listening who's in that direction, stay inside. Don't go outside trying to signal them. You'll just attract infected. The messages are coming in faster now. People heard the helicopters too. Everyone's asking the same questions. What does it mean? Are we being rescued? Is help coming? I'm tempering expectations. Yes, there's military activity. No, I don't think it means imminent rescue for most people. More likely they're securing critical infrastructure or evacuating VIPs. We're on our own for the foreseeable future. It's harsh, but it's honest. People need to understand that they can't count on external help. They need to take responsibility for their own survival. Noon. 12 hours of daylight, 12 more until night. I'm dreading nightfall. The infected seem more active after dark, more aggressive. Maybe it's just perception, but multiple reports have mentioned increased danger at night. We need to prepare. Make sure all lights are off or covered. Stay absolutely silent. Hope they don't remember we're here. Emily's eating. Granola bar and water. We have enough food for maybe a week if we're careful. After that, we'll have to risk scavenging. Going down into the building. Into infected territory. The thought terrifies me, but hunger is a powerful motivator. I'm eating too. Peanut butter crackers. They're stale, but calories are calories. I need to maintain strength. Can't let myself weaken from hunger. We're taking stock of everything we have. Food, water, batteries, medical supplies, making lists, planning rationing schedules. It's absurdly domestic considering our situation, but humans cling to routine. to organization. It helps us feel in control. Emily's asking about her roommate again, Birdie. The one who was bitten. It's been hours since we heard from her. Long enough that she's probably dead and reanimated. Emily knows this, but she keeps checking her phone, hoping for a message that won't come. I don't know how to comfort her. Any words I offer feel inadequate. So I just sit with her, let her grieve. Sometimes presence is all you can give. 12:15 p.m. A message from someone claiming to be a CDC scientist. They're holed up in a lab facility outside the city. They say they've been analyzing samples of the contamination. They have preliminary findings. The compound is a synthetic neurotoxin that specifically targets the prefrontal cortex, causes massive cellular death in the regions responsible for higher cognition. The brainstem and motor cortex remain functional, creating what we're seeing: motor function without consciousness, aggression without restraint. The scientist says that reanimation isn't true resurrection. The people never fully died, their hearts stop, breathing ceases, but basic electrical activity in the brainstem continues. When conditions change, when the toxin levels decrease slightly, basic functions resume. Hence the reanimation. This means the infected are technically alive, just neurologically destroyed. This has implications for how we think about killing them. Are we murdering people or destroying diseased corpses? Philosophically complex, practically irrelevant. Alive or dead, they're trying to kill us. The scientist is asking if we can broadcast their findings. They want to reach other researchers, other survivors with scientific backgrounds. Maybe someone can develop a treatment or countermeasure. I agree, I read their entire message on air, technical terminology and all. If there's a scientist listening, if there's someone who can build on this research, we've given them the information. Emily's writing down everything, creating a record. She says that if we survive, this documentation will be historically important. Evidence of how humanity responded to an existential threat. I think she's right. Future generations, if there are any, will want to know what we experienced. 12:30. The sun is high now, bright daylight. In normal times, people would be on lunch breaks, going out to eat, meeting friends, living normal lives. Now they're dead or hiding or transformed into monsters. The loss is incalculable, not just lives but culture, knowledge, art, all the accumulated wisdom of civilization. Libraries burning, museums destroyed, universities abandoned. The great project of human advancement interrupted or ended. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic. Maybe this is survivable. Maybe we'll rebuild. But right now, in this moment, it feels like the end of everything. Emily's trying to reach her parents again. Still no answer. Just voicemail. Either the networks are down in their area or something happened to them. The uncertainty is torture. Not knowing is worse than knowing the worst. I tried calling a few people too. Old friends, colleagues, my brother. Nothing. Either they're dead or they've abandoned their phones or communication is just impossible now. Either way, the result is the same. Isolation. We're alone in this building, alone in this city, alone in whatever remains of the world. Just two people and a radio transmitter. It's not much, but it's what we have. 1 p.m. I've been broadcasting for 20 hours now. My voice is hoarse. I'm drinking water constantly, trying to stay hydrated. Emily's offering to take over for a while. Let me rest. I'm considering it. I can't go on forever without sleep. But I'm afraid that if I stop talking, if I let silence fill the airwaves, people will think we're dead, we'll lose hope, we'll give up. So, I keep going. Keep pushing through exhaustion. A message from a survivor in the suburbs. They've been watching the infected, notice patterns. The infected seem to gather in areas where they died. Former workplace, home, places they frequented in life. Some kind of residual memory or just random. They're not sure. This is interesting. If true, it means infected might be somewhat predictable. You could map out danger zones based on population density and common gathering places. Avoid former shopping centers, office buildings, apartment complexes. Stick to less trafficked areas. I'm sharing this observation with listeners. Every piece of information might help someone survive. Another message. This one from a police officer. She's barricaded in a precinct with a dozen other officers. They have weapons, ammunition, food. They're planning to wait out the initial chaos, then start clearing operations, systematically eliminating infected from manageable sections of the city. It's ambitious, maybe impossible, but it's action. It's resistance. I admire it. I tell her so. I wish them luck. Emily's pointing at the security feed. Movement on the ground floor. Lots of movement. Infected streaming into the building. Dozens of them. More than we've seen before. They're filling the lobby, spreading to the stairwells. Why? What attracted them? We've been quiet, no loud noises, just my voice at normal conversational volume. Unless that's enough. Unless they're drawn to any sound of human speech. If that's true, we have a problem. Broadcasting makes us a beacon. Every word I say into this microphone potentially draws infected to our location. Emily's asking if we should stop, go silent. I'm torn. Our mission is to broadcast to maintain communication. But if it's suicidal, if it guarantees our deaths, what's the point? I make a decision. We'll continue, but quieter. I lower my voice, almost whispering into the microphone. It might not carry as far, it might be harder to hear, but it's a compromise. We keep broadcasting without shouting our location. 115. The infected are climbing the stairs again. I can see them on the feeds. Slow but persistent. They've reached the 5th floor. 8 more to go before they get to us. We check our barricade. It held before, it should hold again. But there are more of them this time. If they all push together, I don't know if we can stop them. Emily's reloading the fire extinguisher. We found spare canisters in the maintenance closet. It's not much of a weapon, but it's something. I've got the microphone stand again. We're as ready as we can be. I'm continuing to broadcast, quietly describing our situation. If this is the end, there will be a record. People will know what happened to us. The infected are on the 10th floor. 3 more to go. I can hear them. The collective moaning, the shuffling of dozens of feet. It's like an approaching wave. Emily's standing beside me. We're not saying anything, just waiting. Knowing that in a few minutes we'll be fighting for our lives again. 11th floor. 2 more. The sound is overwhelming. So many of them. We killed 3 last time. How many can we kill this time before we're overwhelmed? I'm not ready to die. I'm 45 years old. I should have decades left, but I'm looking at minutes, maybe less. 12th floor. 1 more. Emily's gripping the fire extinguisher. I'm holding the microphone stand. We're both terrified but determined. I'm still broadcasting, still whispering into the microphone, telling anyone listening that we tried, that we didn't give up, that humanity is worth fighting for. 13th floor. They're right outside. The scratching has started. The moaning is deafening. The barricade is shaking. This is it. Whatever happens next, know that Emily and I stood our ground. Know that we fought. Know that we cared about reaching you, about helping you survive. The door is cracking. They're coming through. Emily and I look at each other. A moment of understanding, of shared determination. We're gonna fight. The first infected pushes through. Emily hits it with the extinguisher. I swing the stand. We're fighting. Still alive. Still human. Still resisting. And I'm still broadcasting. My voice hoarse but steady. Describing the battle in real time. Because this is what we do. This is who we are. Broadcasters to the end. 1:30 p.m. We're alive. Somehow, impossibly, we're alive. The infected broke through. Not just 1 or 2 like last time. 7 of them. Squeezing through the damaged door. Coming at us from multiple angles. Emily and I fought back to back. Using everything we had. The fire extinguisher. The microphone stand. Our hands. Our feet. Desperate animal violence. I don't remember all of it. Just fragments. The smell of decay. The sound of skulls cracking. Emily screaming. My own ragged breathing, the endless loop of striking, dodging, striking again. At some point, they stopped coming. 7 bodies on the floor. 7 killed. Emily and I both injured. She has a deep gash on her arm where one of them grabbed her. I have bite marks on my hand, but the teeth didn't penetrate. My jacket sleeve took the damage. We're checking for bites, real bites, broken skin, blood, the kind that transmit infection. Emily's arm is bad, but it's a scratch from nails, not teeth. My hand is bruised but intact. We're okay. We're still okay. The barricade is completely destroyed. The door is hanging off its hinges, but the infected outside have stopped trying to get in. Maybe they're satisfied, maybe they've moved on. I don't know. I'm just grateful for the reprieve. We're dragging bodies again, piling them away from the entrance. It's grim work. These were people once, had names, lives, families. Now they're just obstacles to clear. Emily's applying bandages to her arm. We found a first aid kit in the storage closet. Antiseptic, gauze, tape. Basic supplies. She's cleaning the wound thoroughly. We can't risk infection. Not the zombie kind, the regular bacterial kind. That'll kill you just as surely. I'm back at the microphone. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold it. But I'm talking, describing what happened, letting people know we survived again. 2 p.m., the adrenaline is worn off completely. I'm crashing hard. Emily's the same. We're both sitting on the floor, backs against the wall, trying to process what just happened. 14 infected killed in 2 encounters. That's more than most survivors will ever face. We should be dead. By any reasonable calculation, we should have been overwhelmed. But we're here. Traumatized, exhausted, but alive. Emily's asking how much longer we can do this. How many more attacks can we survive before our luck runs out? I don't have an answer. Each time we're a little more tired, a little more injured. Eventually we won't be fast enough or strong enough, but that's eventually, not now. Now we're alive and we're going to stay that way as long as possible. Messages are flooding in. People heard the attack, heard us fighting. They're calling us heroes, inspiration, proof that humans can fight back. I don't feel like a hero. I feel like a terrified person who did what was necessary to survive. But if our survival inspires others, if it gives people hope, then maybe it means something. A message from the police officer at the precinct. They've started their clearing operation. First target is the community center 2 blocks away. 20 officers, heavily armed, moving in formation. They're going to clear the building, secure it, establish it as a safe zone. It's the kind of organized resistance we desperately need. I'm broadcasting their plan, not to compromise their operation, but to show that active resistance is happening, that people are fighting back. 2:30. We've rebuilt the barricade using everything left in the studio. Chairs, tables, equipment racks, everything. It's a fortress now. We're as close to one as we can manage. Emily found more food in the break room, vending machine snacks, coffee supplies, some frozen meals in the freezer that are still cold. With the power out, they won't last long, but for now they're edible. We're eating, restoring calories, preparing for whatever comes next. I'm thinking about sustainability. How long can we really hold out here? We have food for maybe a week, water for a few days, ammunition for our improvised weapons is unlimited, but our ability to fight is finite. Bodies break down, injuries accumulate. Eventually, we'll have to leave this building, try to reach a more secure location, somewhere with better supplies, better defenses, but where, and how do we get there through a city full of problems for later? Right now, we're here. We're alive. We're broadcasting. That's enough. Emily's trying to sleep again. She needs it. The wound on her arm needs time to heal. Rest is crucial. I'm taking the watch again, monitoring cameras, fielding messages, keeping the broadcast alive. 3 p.m., mid-afternoon, the city looks dead from up here. No movement except infected and smoke. The fires have spread. Multiple districts burning now. Without firefighters to stop them, they'll just keep spreading until they run out of fuel. We might see the city burn to the ground. Will that history, will that human achievement, reduce to ash? It's a thought too large to fully comprehend. A message from Willowbrook. Their patrol spotted a group of survivors trying to reach their community. About 30 people traveling together, but they're being pursued by infected. Willowbrook is debating whether to open their barricades. Let the refugees in, or keep them closed. Maintain security. It's a terrible choice. Humanitarian versus practical. Open the barricades and risk breaching their defenses. Keep them closed and condemn 30 people to death. I can't tell them what to do. Both choices have moral weight. Both have consequences. They have to decide for themselves what kind of community they want to be. 3:15. Willowbrook responded. They're opening the barricades, going to provide covering fire while the refugees get inside, then seal everything again. They're choosing compassion over caution. I hope it works. I hope those 30 people make it. I hope Willowbrook doesn't pay too high a price for their generosity. This is what humanity looks like. People risking their own safety to help strangers. It's beautiful and terrifying. Makes me think we might actually deserve to survive this. Another message from the CDC scientist. They've made progress. Identified a possible countermeasure to the neurotoxin, a compound that might restore higher brain function in recently turned infected. It's experimental, untested, but theoretically possible. The problem is production. They need laboratory equipment, chemical supplies, specialized knowledge, all things that are scarce or unavailable in the current situation. They're asking if anyone listening has access to pharmaceutical facilities or university labs. I'm broadcasting the request. Maybe someone out there can help. Maybe this scientist can actually develop a cure. It's a long shot, but it's hope. Real, tangible hope. 3:30. Emily's awake. She slept for about 90 minutes. Not enough, but better than nothing. She's checking her wound. It looks clean. No signs of infection yet. She's applying fresh bandages. We're talking about next steps. We can't stay here indefinitely. Sooner or later, we need to attempt escape, find other survivors, join a larger group. The question is when. Do we go now while we still have strength, or wait until our supplies run out? Both options have risks. I'm leaning toward waiting. As long as we have food and water, as long as we can defend this position, we should stay. The infected might thin out over time. Migration to other areas. Die from lack of sustenance if they actually need to eat. Give us better odds for escape later. Emily agrees. We're staying put, making this studio our home for as long as we can. 4 p.m., the helicopters are back. Same formation, heading north this time. I watch them through the window. They're low enough that I can see details. Black Hawks. Military standard. They're not slowing down. Not looking for survivors to rescue. Just transiting through. Where are they going? What are they doing? Are they evacuating the government, relocating to bunkers or safe zones? Or are they conducting some kind of operation we can't see? The uncertainty is maddening. We're cut off from official information, operating on fragments and speculation. Emily's monitoring radio frequencies. She found something on an encrypted military channel. Just fragments. The signal is poor, but she's hearing words. Containment, sterilization, total loss or sterilization. What does that mean? Are they planning to firebomb the city, use chemical weapons, eliminate all life, infected and survivor alike? I'm trying not to panic, trying to interpret those words charitably. Maybe sterilization means decontamination, cleaning up the chemical source, preventing further spread. But there's a darker interpretation, the one where we're all considered acceptable losses, where the government has decided that containing the outbreak is more important than saving survivors. I'm not broadcasting this. No point in creating panic, but I'm worried, really worried. 4:30. A message from the Rayburn Medical Center roof. They took my advice, attempted to clear the stairwell. 12 people tried. 4 made it back to the roof. 8 are dead or infected. But those 4 managed to reach the pharmacy on the 3rd floor. Got medications, supplies. They're rationing carefully, but they have weeks of food and water now. They might actually survive. 4 deaths for survival supplies. That's the exchange rate now. Lives for resources. It's brutal math, but it's the reality. I'm telling them they made the right choice, that those who died gave the others a chance. I don't know if that's comforting. Probably not, but it's true. Emily's organizing our own supplies, labeling everything, creating an inventory. She's always been detail-oriented. That personality trait might keep us alive. 5 p.m., the sun is lower now, golden hour light streaming through the windows. In normal times it would be beautiful. Now it's just a reminder that night is coming. We need to prepare, cover the windows, kill all lights, be absolutely silent. The infected are more active after dark. We can't give them any reason to focus on our location. Emily's hanging blankets over the windows, blocking every bit of light. The studio is getting dark, just the glow of equipment screens. The red light of the broadcast indicator. Minimal illumination. I'm adjusting the microphone gain, making sure I can broadcast at a whisper, testing levels. It's working. I can speak quietly and still be heard by listeners. 5:30, preparations complete. We're ready for nightfall, ready to hide, ready to hope that the infected forget we're here. A message from the police precinct. Their clearing operation failed. They got to the community center, started engaging infected, but there were too many. Way more than expected. They had to retreat, lost 6 officers in the withdrawal. The survivor is devastated, asking if they should try again. I'm telling her no. 6 deaths prove the approach doesn't work. They need a different strategy, better reconnaissance, more firepower, or just hunker down and survive rather than trying to reclaim territory. Sometimes retreat is the only viable option. Survival over heroism. 6 p.m., sunset approaching. The temperature is dropping fast. It'll be cold tonight. We have blankets, layers, but no heat. We're going to be uncomfortable. Emily's eating dinner, canned soup cold. We can't heat anything without power. Cold food is another adjustment to the new reality. I'm eating too. Crackers and cheese from the vending machine. Expired but still edible. Hunger makes everything palatable. We're conserving the generator fuel. Only running essential equipment. The broadcast transmitter, minimal lighting, security cameras. Everything else is off. At this rate, we can broadcast for another 30 hours. After that, silent. 30 hours to make a difference. To share information. To help whoever's listening. Then our voice goes silent, and we're just 2 more survivors hiding in the dark. 6:30. The sun is setting, long shadows across the city. The fires are more visible now. Orange flames against darkening sky. It's apocalyptic in the literal sense. Emily's asking if I think this is the end of the world, the actual end. I tell her I don't know. It might be the end of the world we knew. But humans are adaptable. We've survived worse. Ice ages, plagues, wars. This is bad, but it's not extinction level. Not yet. She seems comforted by that. I'm not sure I believe it myself, but hope is important. We have to believe survival is possible. 7 p.m. Full darkness now. The city lights that would normally illuminate the night are gone. Just fires and darkness. The stars are visible for the first time in years. Light pollution eliminated by the collapse of civilization. There's beauty in it. Harsh, terrible beauty. The universe indifferent to human suffering. Stars shining on a dying world. I'm waxing poetic. Exhaustion does that. Makes everything seem profound. Emily's at the window, looking out at the darkness. I ask what she sees. She says fires, movement in the streets below, shadows that might be infected. She can't tell for sure. We're going to stay away from the windows. No silhouettes, no movement that might be visible from below. We're ghosts in our own building. 7:30. It's been quiet for about 20 minutes. No scratching, no moaning. The infected on our floor have moved on or become inactive. We're hoping for the latter, that they enter some kind of dormant state at night, but we don't know. Everything about them is still mystery. Messages are still coming in. People reporting on their situations. A family barricaded in a farmhouse outside the city. They're okay for now. Rural areas seem less affected. A college student hiding in a library, surrounded by books. Plenty to read while waiting for rescue or death. Dark humor in that message. A doctor at a field hospital established by survivors. They're treating injuries, trying to help, but they're running out of supplies. Asking if anyone knows where to find medical equipment. I'm forwarding all these messages, creating a network of information. Maybe someone can help the doctor. Maybe the rural family can offer advice to urban survivors. Connection matters. Community matters. 8 p.m. 2 hours into darkness. My eyes have adjusted. I can see by the dim glow of equipment screens. Emily's silhouette across the room. The shapes of our barricade. We're whispering when we need to communicate. Otherwise silence. Absolute silence. Even our breathing is controlled. Quiet as possible. The city outside is not silent. I can hear things. Distant sounds, crashes, screams, gunfire. The sounds of civilization dying. It's hard to listen to. Knowing people are suffering, dying, while we hide in relative safety. Survivor's guilt is real. I feel it acutely. 8:30, Emily's phone battery died. We have no more communication except through the broadcast. We're more isolated now, can't receive messages, can't know if anyone's listening. I'm continuing to broadcast anyway, on faith, believing that someone out there is hearing my voice, drawing comfort from it. I'm talking about practical things, water purification, food preservation, basic survival skills, information that might help someone live another day. 9 p.m. 3 hours of darkness. We've heard movement in the stairwell. The infected are active, moving through the building. We're holding our breath, hoping they pass by. The scratching has started again, not at our door. Somewhere else on this floor. They're testing different rooms, looking for a way in, looking for prey. Emily and I are completely still, not moving, not speaking, just listening, waiting for them to move on. Minutes pass. The scratching continues, then slowly, gradually, it fades. Moving away, down the hallway, back to the stairwell. Gone. We breathe again. Quiet breaths. Relief washing over us. Another close call. Another hour survived. 9:30. I need to sleep. I've been awake for over 24 hours. My body is shutting down. Emily agrees to take over the broadcast. She'll whisper into the microphone. Keep the signal alive. Watch the feeds. Let me rest. I'm lying on the floor, using a jacket as a blanket. The concrete is hard and cold, but I'm exhausted enough that it doesn't matter. Sleep takes me within seconds. I'm dreaming. Nightmares about infected, about being chased through endless corridors, about watching Emily die, about killing people who used to be human. My subconscious processing trauma in the only way it knows how. I wake up gasping, Emily's hand on my shoulder. She's telling me it's okay. I'm safe. It was just a dream. But the dream feels more real than reality, because reality is impossible. The world ended. Civilization collapsed. We're living in a nightmare, whether we're asleep or awake. Midnight. Emily let me sleep for about 2.5 hours. Not enough, but better than nothing. I'm taking over again, letting her rest. The building is quiet. The infected seem less active now. Maybe they do enter a dormant state, or maybe they've just migrated to other areas. Either way, it's a reprieve. I'm broadcasting again, checking in with whoever's listening, telling them we're still here, still alive, still fighting. A thought occurs to me. How long has it been since the initial outbreak? I checked the clock, about 39 hours. Less than 2 days. It feels like a lifetime. The old world already feels distant, like something from another era. That's how fast everything can change. 40 hours from normal civilization to post-apocalyptic nightmare. All it took was chemical contamination and human panic. 12:30 a.m. Friday now. A new day. Though the distinction between days is becoming meaningless, time is measured in survival increments now. Hours, minutes, heartbeat. Emily's asleep. I'm alone with my thoughts and the microphone. It's peaceful in a strange way, the solitude, the darkness, just me and whatever ghosts are listening. I'm thinking about my life again. The choices that led me here. Could I have done anything differently? Evacuated earlier? Found better shelter? Or was this always inevitable? Was I always going to end up trapped in a radio station broadcasting to the void? I don't know. Causality is too complex to untangle. I made decisions based on available information. Some were good, some were bad. But here I am, alive. That's something. 1 a.m. Emily's screaming. I rush over. She's having a nightmare. Thrashing. I shake her awake. She's crying, disoriented. I hold her until she calms down. We're both traumatized, both suffering from acute stress. We need psychological help that doesn't exist anymore. So we help each other. Two damaged people clinging to sanity. She apologizes for waking me. I tell her there's nothing to apologize for. We're human. We break, we cry, we scream, and then we pull ourselves together and keep going. 1:30. Emily can't sleep anymore. We're both awake now, sitting in darkness, whispering to each other, sharing stories from before, trying to remember what normal felt like. She talks about her college years, studying communications, meeting her first serious girlfriend, figuring out who she was. All of it feels like ancient history now. I talk about my early career, the mistakes I made, the successes, the slow climb to this position. All meaningless now. Career advancement doesn't matter when there's no career. No advancement, just survival. 2 a.m., we hear helicopters again, distant, multiple aircraft. They've been flying regularly, every few hours, always to and from the same direction. There's definitely an organized operation happening somewhere. We're just not part of it. We're civilians, expendable, left to fend for ourselves while whoever's important gets evacuated. I'm trying not to be bitter, trying to understand that with limited resources you have to make hard choices. But it stings. Being abandoned, being considered acceptable losses. 2:30. Generator is running low. We're going to have to refuel soon. That means leaving the studio, going down to the basement where the tanks are stored, through potentially infected territory. We're discussing strategy. One person goes, one stays, keep the barricade secured, move fast, stay quiet, get in, refuel, get out. Emily volunteers. I protest. She insists, says she's smaller, lighter on her feet, better choice for a stealth mission. I hate it, but she's right. We're preparing. She's taking a flashlight, a weapon, a backpack for carrying fuel canisters. I'm monitoring the security feeds, plotting the safest route. The basement appears clear on cameras. No movement. But the cameras don't cover everything. There could be infected and blind spots. 3 a.m. Emily's ready. I'm checking the route one more time. Ground floor to basement stairs, straight shot. Should take 10 minutes if she's fast. I'm opening the barricade. Just enough for her to slip through. She's checking both directions. All clear. She moves into the hallway, silent as a ghost. I'm watching on the feeds, following her progress. She's at the stairwell, starting down. I lose visual as she descends below camera coverage. Now I wait. 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. But they feel eternal. I'm whispering into the microphone, describing what's happening. Emily's brave enough to do this. I'm going to make sure people know about it. 5 minutes pass. No sign of her on the feeds. She should be in the basement now, finding the fuel storage. Loading canister. 7 minutes. Still nothing. I'm getting worried. What if she ran into infected? What if she's hurt? I should have gone. I should have insisted. 9 minutes. There, movement on the ground floor feed. It's her. She's got the fuel. She's coming back. She's moving faster now. Less careful. Maybe she heard something. Maybe she's just eager to get back to relative safety. 10th floor. 11th. She's almost here. I'm ready to open the barricade. Let her in. Seal it again. She reaches our floor. I crack the door. She slips through. I seal it immediately. We made it. Successful supply run. Emily's breathing hard. She says she heard them. In the basement. Moving around. She stayed quiet. Grabbed what she needed. Got out. They never saw her. I'm so relieved I could cry. But there's no time. We need to refuel the generator. Keep the broadcast alive. 3:30 a.m. Generator refueled. We have another 48 hours of power, enough to get us through the weekend. After that, we'll reassess. Emily's shaking. Adrenaline wearing off. She did something incredibly brave, and now the fear is catching up. I make her eat something, drink water, take care of her body while her mind processes what just happened. She's asking if it gets easier, if you get used to the fear. I tell her honestly, I don't know. We've only been doing this for 2 days, not long enough to know if adaptation is possible. 4 a.m. Darkest part of night. Emily's dozing against the wall. I'm back at the microphone, broadcasting into the darkness. I'm thinking about the Brennus Pharmaceutical Corporation, the company that caused all this. Probably everyone involved is dead now. The executives who approved illegal dumping, the workers who carried it out, killed by the very contamination they created. There's poetry in that. Karmic justice, but it's cold comfort when the entire world is paying the price for their greed. 4:30. The sky is lightening, dawn approaching. We survived another night, another small victory. Emily wakes up, asks what time it is. I tell her. She looks surprised that we made it through. I know the feeling. Every morning that we're still alive feels like a miracle. 5 a.m. Sun will be up soon. We can assess the situation in daylight. See if anything changed overnight. Messages started coming in on the emergency broadcast band, other survivors checking in, reporting status, creating an informal network, a group in the hospital district, 20 medical professionals and patients. They've secured 2 floors, have supplies for a week. A family in the suburbs, father, mother, 3 kids, hiding in their basement, running low on food, asking for advice on scavenging. A lone survivor in apartment tower, watching the infected from above, documenting their behavior, creating a record. We're all just trying to survive, trying to maintain humanity in impossible circumstances. 5:30. The sun is rising, golden light replacing darkness. I remove the blankets from the windows, look out at the city. It's worse than yesterday. More fires, more visible damage. Buildings collapsed, streets littered with debris and bodies. The infected are visible everywhere. Hundreds in my line of sight, just wandering. Some alone, some in groups, all mindless, all dangerous. This is the world now. This is what we have to accept. 6 a.m. Friday morning. 42 hours since the initial outbreak. I've been broadcasting for about 30 hours total. My voice is raw, my body aches, but I'm still here. Emily's asking what we should do today. I suggest we rest, recover from last night, maintain the broadcast, but take care of ourselves, eat properly, clean our wounds, process our trauma. She agrees. We're settling in for a quiet day. Just survival, just existing. 6:30. I'm going to try to eat a real meal, not just snacks. We have canned goods, vegetables, soup, beans, cold but nutritious. Emily's doing the same. We're sitting together, eating in silence, finding comfort in the mundane ritual of sharing a meal. It's almost normal. For a few minutes we can pretend the world didn't end, that we're just coworkers having breakfast together. Then reality intrudes, the sound of moaning from somewhere in the building, the smell of smoke from the fires, the evidence that nothing is normal anymore. But we had those few minutes. That's something. 7 a.m. Morning light fully established, the city visible in harsh detail. I'm documenting what I see, creating a record for whoever might care later. Fire damage visible in 6 districts. The warehouse district almost completely consumed. The financial district partially burned. Residential areas showing scattered fires. Bodies in the streets, too many to count. Some moving infected, some still truly dead. All testament to how fast everything fell apart. No signs of organized resistance. No military checkpoints visible. No emergency vehicles moving. Just destruction and the shuffling forms of the infected. 7:30. Emily's checking the security feeds. She's noticed something. The infected seem to be migrating, moving generally eastward, away from the fires, driven by some instinct to avoid the flames. This could be useful information. Fire as a tool for controlling infected movement. Dangerous, but potentially effective. I'm broadcasting this observation. Maybe someone can use it. Maybe someone's organizing resistance and can implement fire-based strategy. 8 a.m. I've been on air for 32 hours. I'm going to take a break. Let Emily broadcast for a while. I need rest. Real rest. Not just a few hours of nightmare-plagued sleep. I'm lying down, closing my eyes, trying to relax. It's difficult. Every sound makes me tense. Every creak of the building could be infected approaching, but I need this, need to recover. So I force myself to breathe slowly, to release tension, to drift toward sleep. I wake up to Emily shaking me. I'm disoriented. How long was I asleep? She says 3 hours. It's 11 a.m. Something's happening. She's pointing at the television monitor. We'd given up on TV broadcasts, but she was scanning channels out of habit, and she found something. A broadcast. Actual organized content. I'm watching. It's a military spokesman, speaking from what looks like a command center. He's giving an official statement. This is General Patterson Hayes with the Joint Emergency Response Command. I'm speaking to any survivors in the metropolitan region. The situation remains critical. The contamination event has resulted in widespread casualty and social breakdown. Military forces are working to establish secure zones. If you can hear this message, we ask that you remain sheltered in place. Do not attempt to reach military checkpoints. Repeat, do not attempt to reach checkpoints. Civilians approaching secure zones will be turned away or detained for quarantine processing. The statement continues. Details about the contamination. Confirmation that it originated from illegal pharmaceutical dumping. Acknowledgement that the reanimation phenomenon is real. Warning that infected individuals should be considered extremely dangerous and avoided at all costs. General Hayes speaks with military precision. We are implementing containment protocols. The affected metropolitan area has been designated a quarantine zone. No civilian traffic will be permitted to exit. Federal resources are being mobilized. We expect to have full containment within 72 hours. 72 hours. 3 days from when? From now? From the initial outbreak? The general doesn't specify. The broadcast continues. Citizens are advised to secure adequate food and water supplies for a minimum of 2 weeks. Ration carefully. Avoid unnecessary exposure. Keep noise to a minimum. The infected are attracted to sound and movement. Nothing we don't already know. But it's official confirmation. Government acknowledgement of the reality we're living. Emergency services are not available at this time. Police, fire, and medical personnel have been recalled to secure positions. You are responsible for your own safety. Defend yourselves as necessary. Lethal force against infected individuals is authorized. Authorized, as if we needed permission to save our own lives. The general's face is impassive, professional, but I can see the strain around his eyes, the weight of delivering this message. We understand this is an unprecedented crisis. We are doing everything possible to restore order, but we need your cooperation. Stay hidden, stay quiet, stay alive. We will restore normalcy. This situation is temporary. The broadcast ends, returns to static. Emily and I look at each other. We just heard from the government, official confirmation that we're on our own for at least 2 weeks, probably longer. 11:15 a.m. I'm processing what we just heard. The government knows what's happening. They're trying to respond, but they're overwhelmed, admitting they can't help us right now. 72 hours for full containment? I don't believe it. Not based on what we're seeing. The infected are everywhere, thousands of them. How do you contain that in 3 days? Unless containment means something different than I think. Unless it means sealing off the entire region, letting everyone inside die or turn, then clearing the area with overwhelming force. That would explain why we're told not to approach checkpoints, why evacuation isn't being offered. They're writing us off. The entire metropolitan area. 3 million people considered acceptable losses. Emily's crying again? She understands the implication. Her parents called earlier before her phone died. They're 2 states away. Safe. But she's here, in the death zone. And the government just confirmed they're not coming to help. I'm holding her, telling her we'll survive anyway. We don't need the government. We've made it this far on our own. We'll keep going. But inside, I'm terrified. If they're planning to sterilize the area, what does that mean? Bombing? Chemical weapons? Will they wait for survivors to die off naturally or accelerate the process? 11:30, I'm back at the microphone broadcasting what we just heard. People need to know. The government statement changes everything. If you're listening, if you're still alive out there, here's what we know. The government has designated this area a quarantine zone. No one is being evacuated. No one is being rescued. We're expected to shelter in place for at least 2 weeks. After that, they claim they'll have the situation contained. I'm choosing my words carefully, not wanting to incite panic. But people deserve the truth. What does containment mean? The general didn't specify, but we need to prepare for the possibility that they're going to clear this entire region by force, which means we need to survive long enough to either be found and rescued or to escape on our own terms. Emily's nodding. She agrees with my assessment. We need to be realistic about our situation. For those of you who've secured shelter, who have supplies, stay put. 2 weeks is survivable if you're careful. For those of you who are running out of resources, you need to make hard decisions, risk scavenging runs, or try to relocate to better shelter. There's no good answer, only varying degrees of risk. I pause, drink some water, my throat is so raw. Emily and I are going to continue broadcasting as long as we can, sharing information, maintaining this connection, because even if the government has abandoned us, we don't have to abandon each other. We're all in this together. We're all human, and humanity is worth preserving. Noon, Friday afternoon, the sun is high. Temperature outside is probably 60 degrees. Perfect autumn day. Absolutely wrong for the circumstances. We're getting responses to the government broadcast. People are angry, feeling betrayed. Others are resigned, expected this outcome. Some are grateful for any information at all. A message from Willowbrook community. They heard the broadcast. They're doubling down on self-sufficiency, planning to outlast the 2-week timeline, setting up long-term survival structures, agriculture, water collection, defense rotations. They're thinking in terms of months, not days. That's the right mindset. If the government timeline is accurate, we need to survive at least 2 weeks. If it's not, if containment takes longer, we need to be prepared for indefinite self-reliance. Another message from the CDC scientist. They're concerned about the sterilization comment, asking if I think the military would actually bomb the city. I don't know. I hope not. But hope isn't strategy. I'm telling people to prepare for the worst. Find deep shelter if possible. Basements, underground parking structures, subway tunnels, places that might protect against aerial bombardment. Maybe I'm being paranoid. Maybe the government really does plan a conventional clearing operation. But paranoia keeps you alive in situations like this. 12:30 p.m. Emily's inventorying our supplies again. We have food for 9 more days at current consumption. Water for 5 days. After that, we'll need to risk scavenging or try to reach a water source. 9 days. That gets us close to the 2-week mark. If we're very careful, if we don't waste anything, if we don't get injured or sick and need extra resources, it's tight, but possible. We're discussing rationing strategies, reducing portions, eating just enough to maintain strength. Not pleasant, but necessary. Emily suggests we start cataloging everything else in the building. There might be supplies in other offices, other floors. Food in break rooms, water in coolers, useful equipment in storage closet. But accessing those areas means leaving our secured position, means risking encounters with infected. The building has them. We know that. We've heard them. Is the potential resource gain worth the risk? We're debating it. No clear answer. 1 p.m. We've decided to attempt a limited scavenging operation within the building, target the 14th floor only. The floor we're on. Minimize risk by staying close to our secured position. Emily's mapping out which offices to check. The architecture firm 2 doors down, the consulting company across the hall, the insurance office at the end of the corridor. All potentially have supplies. We're preparing. Weapons, flashlight, backpack. One person goes, one person watches the security feeds and guards the studio. I'm going this time. Emily went on the fuel run. My turn to take the risk. 1:15. I'm ready. Emily's monitoring the feeds. The hallway appears clear. No movement visible, but the cameras don't show everything. I'm opening the barricade. Slipping out, the hallway is dark. Emergency lighting provides minimal illumination. My flashlight cuts through the dimness. The consulting company is closest, 10 feet away. I move quietly, test the door. Locked. Of course it is. People locked up when they fled. I'm checking the architecture firm. Also locked. The insurance office, locked. All of them secured. I need to break in. But breaking doors means noise. Noise attracts infected. This is the dilemma. I'm examining the doors more carefully. The insurance office door has a window. Frosted glass. I could break it. Reach through. Unlock from inside. Less noise than forcing the whole door. I'm wrapping my jacket around my hand. Emily's watching from the studio doorway. She's ready to pull me back if infected appear. I punch through the glass. Sharp crack. Louder than I wanted. I freeze, listening. No response, no moaning, no shuffling footstep. I reach through, find the lock, turn it, the door opens. Inside, the office is a mess. People left in a hurry. Papers everywhere. Computers still on, displaying abandoned work. Coffee cups still half full on desks. I'm searching quickly. Break room first. Vending machines, thank God. I'm breaking into them, grabbing snacks, drinks, everything I can carry. This is easily 3 days of food. Water cooler. Still full. I'm filling bottles. Careful not to waste a drop. Supply closet. Office supplies mostly, but there's a first aid kit. Better than ours. I'm taking it. That's all I can carry. I'm heading back to the studio. Emily's there, helping me inside. We seal the barricade again. Total time exposed, maybe 5 minutes. We gained 3 days of supplies, worth the risk. 1:30. We're cataloging what I found. Chips, candy bars, crackers, nuts. Not nutritious, but caloric. The water is the real prize. 5 gallons easily. That's multiple days. Emily's smiling. First genuine smile I've seen from her in hours. This success feels good. Feels like we're taking control of our situation. We're discussing hitting the other offices, but not today. Don't push our luck. Tomorrow, maybe. Or the day after. Space out the risk. 2 p.m. I'm back at the microphone, sharing our success. Encouraging others to carefully scavenge nearby areas. Don't travel far, don't make noise, but do look for supplies you might have overlooked. Every day survived is a victory. Every resource secured is an advantage. We're not just waiting for rescue anymore. We're actively working to outlast this crisis. Messages coming in. People reporting their own scavenging successes. The family found an abandoned convenience store, got canned goods, bottled water. A survivor in an office building accessed an executive kitchen. Found gourmet food meant for client meetings. We're adapting, learning, becoming survivors instead of victims. 2:30. The fires in the warehouse district are still burning. Actually spreading. I can see flames reaching the adjacent manufacturing zone. If they're not controlled, they'll consume half the industrial sector. Part of me thinks that's fine. Burn away the contamination source, purify through fire, but fire doesn't discriminate. It'll destroy useful resources, potential shelter, everything. Emily's asking if the fires could spread to residential areas. I'm looking at the wind direction, blowing east, away from the densest population centers, for now. But wind changes. If it shifts south, residential neighborhoods could be threatened. One more thing to worry about. One more variable in an already chaotic situation. 3 p.m. I've been broadcasting for about 34 hours total. My voice is barely holding up. I sound like I've been screaming for days, which emotionally I have been. Emily's suggesting we reduce broadcast hours. Go on air for specific periods. Morning update, afternoon update, evening update. Give my voice time to recover between sessions. It makes sense, and it might actually improve the broadcast quality. People can tune in at predictable times, know when to expect information. We're deciding on a schedule. 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., noon to 2 p.m., 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 6 hours total of broadcasting. The rest of the time we maintain the signal but play recorded messages or music, starting tomorrow. For today, I'll keep going. But tomorrow, we implement the new schedule. 3:30. A disturbing message came in, someone claiming to be a National Guard soldier, stationed at one of the checkpoints. He says the orders are clear. No one leaves the quarantine zone alive. Anyone approaching is shot on sight. No exceptions, no trials, just execution. The soldier is having a crisis of conscience. He's killed civilians, families with children trying to escape, elderly people seeking help, all gunned down because they crossed an invisible line. He's asking if what he's doing is right, if following orders justifies murder. I don't know how to answer that. The moral philosophy is complex. The practical reality is that he'll probably be executed himself for breaking communication protocols by contacting us. I'm telling him that he has to make his own choice. Follow orders or refuse. Both have consequences. Both have moral weight. I can't make that decision for him. Emily's more direct. She says he should refuse, that killing innocent people is never justified, that he'll have to live with those deaths for the rest of his life. The soldier doesn't respond. Either he's made his decision or he's been discovered and arrested. Either way, we won't hear from him again. 4 p.m. The weight of all this is crushing. Every message is someone's tragedy. Every update is more evidence of collapse. I'm trying to maintain emotional distance, trying to stay professional, but it's breaking through. I'm thinking about that soldier, probably 19, 20 years old, following orders that violate every moral principle he was raised with. The psychological damage from that is permanent. Even if he survives, he'll never be whole again. None of us will. Everyone who lives through this will carry scars, visible and invisible, physical and psychological. This is generational trauma, the kind that echoes through families for decades. Emily's asking if I'm okay. I tell her the truth, no. I'm not okay. I'm terrified and sad and angry, but I'm functional. I can keep broadcasting, keep helping, keep keep fighting. She says she feels the same. We're both damaged, but we're damaged together. That makes it bearable. 4:30. The helicopters are back. Different this time. Larger aircraft. Heavy lift capability. They're carrying cargo. I can see containers hanging beneath them. Where are they taking supplies? To military positions? To government shelters? Definitely not to civilians. We're not getting any aid. I'm watching them disappear to the south, toward where the government facilities are, reinforcing their own positions while we starve. The bitterness is hard to contain. But I understand the logic. Preserve what can be preserved, write off what can't be saved. Cold mathematics of triage. We're in the can't be saved category. Better accept it and plan accordingly. 5 p.m. Sun starting to lower. We have maybe 3 hours of daylight left, then another night, another period of maximum danger. We're preparing again, covering windows, checking barricades, organizing weapons within easy reach, becoming practiced at this routine. Emily's asking what we'll do if the infected breach our defenses. If we get overwhelmed, do we fight to the death, try to escape, end things on our own terms? Dark questions, but necessary to consider. I'm telling her we fight as long as we can. If it's truly hopeless, if we're about to be overrun, we decide then, in the moment. Based on the actual situation, she agrees, no predetermined suicide pact, just a commitment to survive as long as possible and make the best decision we can if the worst happens. 5:30, messages from across the city, people checking in before nightfall, confirming they're secure, wishing others luck. These daily check-ins have become ritual. Proof that we made it another day. Willowbrook reporting all refugees successfully integrated. No infections detected. Their population is now 330. They're organizing into work groups. Defense, food production, water management, medical care, building a functional micro-society. The Rayburn Medical Center roof survivors are down to 20 people. They lost some attempting another supply run, but those remaining are well supplied. They might actually outlast most of us. The police precinct is fortified. After their failed clearing operation, they've committed to defense only. They're not trying to reclaim territory anymore, just holding their position. Survivors scattered across dozens of locations, all doing their best, all hoping to see another sunrise. 6 p.m. Sunset approaching. I'm doing the evening broadcast session, summarizing the day, sharing what we learned about government intentions, encouraging people to remain hopeful. This is Daniel Rothman on 104.7 F. Another day survived. We heard from the military. They've confirmed what many of us suspected. We're in a quarantine zone. No rescue coming in the short term. We're expected to shelter in place for at least 2 weeks. I'm keeping my tone measured, professional, but we've also learned that survival is possible. People are scavenging successfully. Communities are organizing. The infected can be avoided with care and killed when necessary. We're adapting to this new reality. Emily's beside me, adding her voice. This is Emily Thorne, Daniel's assistant. I want to emphasize that you're not alone. Even if you're physically isolated, there are hundreds of us out here, all fighting, all surviving. We're connected through this broadcast, through our shared determination to live. It's good to hear her voice on air. Reminds people that we're real, not just disembodied radio voices. Tomorrow morning, we're changing our broadcast schedule. We'll be on air from 6 to 8 a.m., noon to 2 p.m., and 6 to 8 p.m. During other times, we'll maintain the signal but reduce active broadcasting. This will help conserve resources and let us rest. I'm explaining the rationale. People will understand. Stay safe tonight. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. We'll talk again in the morning. This is 104.7 FM. Still broadcasting. Still surviving. 6:30. Evening broadcast complete. We're settling in for another night. The temperature is dropping faster tonight. Probably going to hit 40 degrees. We're going to be cold. We're layering clothing, using blankets, trying to conserve body heat. Without heating, the nights are genuinely uncomfortable. Emily's making dinner, cold canned pasta, not appetizing but nutritious. We eat in silence, both of us thinking about the night ahead. 7 p.m., full darkness. The city invisible except for the fires. We're away from the windows, sitting against the interior wall, minimizing our profile. The sounds start. The moaning, the shuffling, the scratching. The infected are active again, moving through the building, testing doors, searching. We're completely still, barely breathing, hoping they pass us by. Hours pass slowly. We sit in darkness, occasionally whispering to each other, mostly just existing in tense silence. Emily falls asleep against my shoulder. I let her rest. I'm keeping watch. Monitoring the security feeds on minimal brightness, the glow barely visible, 9 p.m. Something's different tonight. The infected seem more organized, moving in groups, almost coordinated. Is this evolution? Are they learning? Or just random clustering? I'm watching the feeds carefully, trying to understand what I'm seeing. There are maybe 20 infected on the ground floor, moving together, all heading in the same direction. They're leaving the building, streaming out through the broken front entrance. All of them. Like they received some signal. Within 10 minutes, the building is clear. No infected visible on any feed. Just empty corridors and stairwells. Why? What drew them away? I can't figure it out, but I'm grateful. Another night where we don't have to fight. Another night of relative safety. 10 p.m. Emily's still sleeping. I'm letting her rest. She needs it. We both do. But someone has to stay alert. I'm thinking about long-term survival again. Assuming we make it through the 2-week government timeline, what then? Do we stay here? Try to leave the city? Join a larger survivor community? This building has advantages. Height, which provides security. Supplies we've scavenged. Broadcast equipment. But it also has disadvantages. Limited food production capability. No renewable water source. Vulnerable to fire or structural damage. Willowbrook sounds better. Ground level, which means access to soil for growing food. Multiple buildings for shelter. Organized community. But getting there means traveling through miles of infected territory. Probably impossible on foot. Problems for later. Right now we're here, we're alive, that's sufficient. 11 p.m. I'm exhausted. I need to wake Emily. Trade off watch duty. Get some sleep myself. I'm shaking her gently. She wakes immediately. Alert. That's good. We're both adapting, becoming lighter sleepers, more reactive to danger. I'm explaining what happened. The infected leaving, the building being clear. She's as confused as I am, but also relieved. I'm lying down, using my jacket as a pillow. The floor is cold and hard, but I'm so tired it doesn't matter. Sleep takes me, dreamless this time, just deep unconsciousness. My body demanding rest. I wake to Emily shaking me. It's 5 a.m., time to prepare for the morning broadcast. I slept for 6 hours, more than I've gotten in days. I feel almost human. Saturday morning, day 3 of the outbreak. 48 hours since everything fell apart. We're still alive, still broadcasting, still fighting. 5:30. We're preparing for the 6 a.m. broadcast, drinking water, eating light breakfast, checking equipment, establishing routine. The sun is starting to rise, pale light filtering through our covered windows. Another day beginning. Emily's asking what we should focus on today. I'm thinking about practical information, survival skills, resource management, things people can actually use. We're also going to share updates on survivor communities. Let people know they're not alone, that organization is happening, that humanity is persist. 6 a.m. We're on air. Good morning. This is Daniel Rothman on 104.7 FM, Saturday, day 3 of the crisis. Emily and I are still here, still broadcasting, still committed to maintaining this connection with survivors across the metropolitan area. Emily takes over. We have updates on organized survivor communities. Willowbrook has successfully integrated their refugee population and now numbers 330 people. The police precinct on 17th is fortified and holding. The medical center roof survivors are stable. Organized resistance is happening. I'm continuing. Today we want to focus on practical survival information, water purification, food preservation, defense strategies. We're going to share what we've learned and what others have reported. Knowledge that might save your life. We spend the next 2 hours discussing details. Boiling water for safety, rationing strategies, how to barricade effectively, how to move quietly, how to identify useful resources in abandoned buildings. It's technical, detailed, exactly what people need. 8 a.m. Morning broadcast complete. We're off air for 4 hours. Time to rest, plan, take care of ourselves. Emily's cleaning her wound, the scratch on her arm. It's healing well. No infection. She's applying fresh bandages. I'm checking our supplies. We're down to 8 days of food after yesterday's scavenging success. Water for 6 days. Still tight, but manageable. We're discussing another scavenging run, maybe this afternoon. Hit the consulting company across the hall. See what we can find. 8:30. We're hearing activity in the stairwell. Not infected. Something else. Regular footsteps. Human rhythms. Emily's checking the security feed. There are people in the building. Actual living people. 3 of them. Climbing the stairs. heading toward our floor. Are they survivors looking for help, or looters, or something worse? We're preparing, weapons ready, standing behind the barricade, waiting to see what happens. The footsteps stop outside our door. Silence. Then a knock. A human knock. A voice. Male. Tired. Hello? We saw your broadcast equipment lights. We know someone's in there. We're not infected. We need help. Emily and I look at each other. Do we trust this? Do we open the barricade? The voice continues. Please. We've been running for 2 days. We're injured, exhausted. We just need somewhere safe to rest. I'm making a decision. We crack the door, just enough to see who's there. 3 people, 2 men, 1 woman, all in their 30s or 40s. Dirty, bloody, exhausted. They look genuine. I'm asking questions. Where did you come from? How did you find us? Are any of you bitten? The woman answers. We came from the downtown district. We heard your broadcast. Followed the signal to this building. We're not bitten. Just scratches and bruises from running. They're showing us their injuries. I'm examining carefully. No bite marks visible. Just the kind of damage you'd expect from fleeing through a destroyed city. I'm making another decision. Okay, you can come in. But if any of you show signs of infection, you're out immediately. Understood? They agree quickly, desperate for shelter. We're letting them in. Opening the barricade. Letting 3 strangers into our secured space. This changes everything. We're not alone anymore. For better or worse, we're now a group. 9 a.m. The newcomers are collapsed on the floor, drinking water, eating the food we offered. Too exhausted to talk much yet. Emily's introducing herself, being kind, offering basic first aid for their injuries. I'm more cautious, keeping the microphone stand within reach, watching them carefully, not ready to fully trust yet. The woman's name is Vera Caldwell. She's a software engineer, was working downtown when everything started. The 2 men are Quinlan Nash and Reuben Cho. Quinlan's a teacher. Reuben's a mechanic. All 3 worked in the same office building. They've been traveling together since Thursday. Survived the initial outbreak. Made it through 2 nights on the streets. Finally heard our broadcast this morning and decided to try to reach us. Vera's asking if we know anything about rescue operations. I'm giving her the truth. The government has quarantined the area. No rescue coming for at least 2 weeks. We're on our own. She takes it hard. Starts crying. Quinlan puts his arm around her. Reuben just stares at the floor. Emily's more comforting than I am, telling them they're safe here, that we have supplies, that we'll figure it out together. 9:30. The newcomers are resting. We gave them space to lie down. They're all asleep within minutes, completely exhausted. Emily and I are discussing this development quietly. 3 more mouths to feed. Our supplies just became more limited. 8 days of food for 2 people is maybe 4 days for 5 people, but there are advantages. More people means more defense capability, more ideas, different skills. Reuben's mechanical knowledge could be useful. Vera's technical skills might help with equipment. Quinlan's teaching background means he's good at explaining things, might help with broadcast. We're deciding to make it work. Humanity is about cooperation. We help each other, that's how we survive. 10 a.m., I'm doing maintenance on the broadcast equipment, checking connections, making sure everything's functioning properly. We can't afford equipment failure. Emily's cataloging what the newcomers brought with them. Not much. Some water bottles, a few snacks, a knife, a flashlight, personal items. They traveled light, but Reuben has a pistol. That's significant. He says he took it from an abandoned police car, has maybe 20 rounds of ammunition. It's more firepower than Emily and I had. This is a genuine military upgrade. The fire extinguisher and microphone stand are fine for close combat, but a gun gives us ranged capability. Better defense against multiple I'm asking Reuben if he knows how to use it. He nods. Says his father taught him, took him shooting as a kid. He's not an expert, but he's competent. Good, we have a shooter now. 10:30. Vera wakes up, asks where the bathroom is. Emily's showing her, explaining that we're conserving water, that we flush minimally, the small indignities of survival. Vera understands. She's adapting quickly. That's good. We need people who can adjust to new circumstances without breaking down. She's asking about the broadcast. How long have we been doing it? What information we're sharing? I'm explaining our mission, maintaining communication, helping survivors, creating a community across the quarantine zone. She wants to help, says she has technical skills, can improve our broadcast quality, extend our range maybe. I'm interested. Better broadcast capabilities mean reaching more people. We're showing her the equipment. She's examining it, making notes, says she has some ideas. We'll try them later. 11 a.m. Quinlan's awake now. He's a quiet guy, soft-spoken, seems gentle. I'm wondering how he's handling the violence, the necessity of killing to survive. I'm asking him directly, have you had to kill any of them? The infected? He nods slowly. 3 times. Didn't have a choice. They cornered us. It was them or us. His voice is haunted. He's carrying guilt. I'm telling him it's justified, that they're not really people anymore, that survival requires hard choices. He doesn't seem comforted. Some people can't reconcile necessary violence with their self-image. Quinlan might be one of them. That could be a problem. In a survival situation, hesitation gets you killed, gets everyone killed. I'm going to watch him carefully, make sure his compassion doesn't become a liability. 11:30. Ruben's the last awake. He's more practical than the others, immediately asking about defenses, about supply situation, about long-term plans. I like him already. He's thinking strategically, not wallowing in emotion, just focused on survival. We're showing him our setup, the barricade, the security cameras, our supply cache. He's impressed, says we've done well for just 2 people. He's suggesting improvements, reinforce the door frame, create secondary barricades, set up noise traps in the stairwell to alert us if infected approach. Good ideas. We're going to implement them. Having someone with mechanical knowledge is already proving valuable. Noon, time for the afternoon broadcast. I'm bringing Vera in to meet our audience. New voice, new perspective. This is Daniel Rothman on 104.7 FM. We have some exciting news. 3 survivors reached our position this morning: Vera Caldwell, Quinlan Nash, and Ruben Cho. They're joining our broadcast team. We're no longer just Emily and myself. We're becoming a real community. Vera's speaking. Hello, everyone. I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be alive. I want you to know that if you're out there, if you're listening, there's hope. Travel is dangerous but possible. Don't give up. Quinlan's turn. Hi, I'm Quinlan. I was a high school teacher before all this. I just want to say that education matters. Knowledge matters. Even in crisis, especially in crisis, we need to keep learning, keep thinking. That's what makes us human. Ruben's brief. Ruben here, stay smart, stay armed. Don't trust anything that moves funny, but do trust other survivors. We need each other. It's good. Multiple voices, different perspectives. The broadcast feels richer already. 12:30. We're discussing our resource situation openly. 5 people, 8 days of food at current consumption, 4 days if we maintain portion sizes. Ruben's suggesting we do a major scavenging operation, hit multiple floors of the building, take some risks to secure enough supplies to get us through the 2-week timeline. Quinlan's nervous about it, says we should be cautious, not risk lives for food we might not even find. Vera's on Ruben's side, says we need to be proactive. Waiting means slow starvation. Better to act while we're strong. Emily's conflicted. She sees both sides. I'm making the call. We do a careful scavenging operation. 2 people go, 3 people guard the studio. We target the most promising locations. We move fast and quiet, minimize risk but maximize gain. Everyone agrees with the compromise. 1 p.m. We're planning the operation. Ruben and I will go. Vera, Quinlan, and Emily will hold the studio. Ruben has the gun. I have my microphone stand. We have flashlights and backpacks. Target is the 13th floor, 1 floor below us. The security feeds show it's clear. Multiple office suites, likely multiple break rooms, potentially lots of supplies. We're preparing, checking routes, identifying escape paths, making sure everyone knows the plan. 1:30. We're ready. Opening the barricade. Ruben and I slip out into the hallway. The others seal the door behind us. The building is silent, just the creaking of metal, the distant sound of wind. No infected audible. We're at the stairwell, descending quietly. 1 floor down. Door to the 13th floor. We open it slowly. The hallway is dark. Emergency lights barely functioning. Our flashlights cut through the gloom. First office suite, doors unlocked. We enter. It's an accounting firm. Cubicles, offices, conference rooms. We're heading straight for the break room. Jackpot. Full-size refrigerator, pantry, vending machines. The refrigerator is warm, everything inside spoiled. But the pantry has canned goods, dozens of them, soup, vegetables, fruit. The vending machines are full. We're loading our backpacks, taking everything we can carry. This is easily 10 days of food, maybe more. Ruben's smiling. This is good. This is really good. We're checking other offices on this floor. Another break room, more supplies. We can't carry it all. We'll need multiple trips, but for now we take what we can. 2 backpacks full of food and supplies. We're heading back upstairs. 2 p.m. We're back in the studio. We did it. No infected encounters. just successful resource acquisition. We've extended our timeline significantly. Vera's cataloging everything. 32 cans of soup, 24 cans of vegetables, 18 cans of fruit, multiple boxes of crackers, bags of chips, candy bars, water bottles. This is 2 weeks of food easily. Maybe 3 if we're careful. Everyone's celebrating. Small victory, but it matters. We're not facing immediate starvation anymore. Emily's hugging me. Relief and joy. We're going to survive, at least for a while. 2:30. Afternoon broadcast continuing. Sharing our success. Encouraging others to scavenge carefully. If you have access to multi-floor buildings, don't overlook them. Office break rooms often have substantial supplies. People stocked up on snacks and drinks. It's there for the taking if you're careful. Messages coming in. People reporting their own successes. The community is learning, adapting, figuring out how to survive in this new world. Willowbrook has started planting crops, fast-growing vegetables. They won't mature for weeks, but they're thinking ahead. Planning for long-term sustainability. The hospital survivors have established communication with a group in the adjacent building. They're coordinating, sharing resources, building a mini network, survival communities forming, humans doing what we do best. Cooperating, building societies even in chaos. 3 p.m. We're off air for 3 hours. Time to rest and plan. Ruben's working on defenses. He's rigging noise traps in the stairwell. Empty cans on strings. If something disturbs them, they'll clatter, alert us to approach. Vera's examining our broadcast equipment, making adjustments. She says she can boost our signal, reach people further out. Quinlan's just sitting, staring at nothing. Emily's talking to him, checking on his mental state. He's struggling. The reality of the situation hitting him. I understand. Some people process trauma immediately. Others have delayed reactions. Quinlan's delayed reaction is happening now. Emily's being gentle with him, letting him talk, letting him feel his feelings. That's important. We can't just suppress everything. 3:30. I'm taking inventory of our defensive capabilities. We have Ruben's pistol with 20 rounds, my microphone stand, Emily's fire extinguisher, various improvised weapons, kitchen knives from the break rooms we scavenged. It's better than nothing. Not great against large numbers, but sufficient for small encounters. We're discussing watch rotations. With 5 people, we can have someone on watch at all times, 2-hour shifts. Everyone gets adequate rest. This is sustainable. This is how we survive long term. 4 p.m. Vera's made modifications to the broadcast equipment. She's testing them now, adjusting frequencies, boosting power. She says our signal should reach at least twice as far now. That means more survivors can hear us, more people connected to our network. It's a significant upgrade. I'm grateful she joined us. Her skills are already proving invaluable. Quinlan's doing better. Emily helped him process his emotions. He's more present now, asking how he can contribute. Emily suggests he help with message management, reading and organizing the communications we receive, using his teaching skills to categorize and prioritize information. He likes that. Gives him purpose, something constructive to focus on. 4:30, we're hearing helicopters again, distant, multiple aircraft. They've been flying regularly, always to and from the south. I'm watching through the window, trying to count them, at least 6, maybe more. That's significant military presence. What are they doing? Evacuating VIPs, bringing in supplies, preparing for some kind of operation. We still don't know. Still cut off from official information. 5 p.m., sun's getting lower. We're preparing for night again. Routine now. Cover windows. Check barricades. Organize weapons. Minimize light and noise. Ruben's finished his noise traps. 3 of them set up in the stairwell. If infected try to reach our floor, we'll hear them coming. Better early warning. Everyone's eating dinner. Cold canned soup and crackers. Not delicious, but nutritious. We're rationing carefully, making everything last. Vera's asking about long-term plans. Where do we go from here? What happens after the 2-week government timeline? I'm honest. I don't know. We adapt. We survive. We see what opportunities present themselves. Maybe we stay here. Maybe we try to reach Willowbrook or another organized community. Maybe we wait for actual rescue. Too many variables to plan definitively. She seems satisfied with that answer. Adaptability is more important than rigid planning anyway. 5:30. Messages coming in before nightfall. Daily check-ins. Survivor communities confirming they made it another day. Willowbrook reporting 330 people still accounted for. No infections, no deaths, successful day. Hospital survivors at 20. Stable situation. Communication with adjacent building established. Police precinct fortified. Holding strong. No significant infected activity in their area. Our group at the radio station, now 5 people, well supplied, defensively sound, contributing to Survivor Network through broadcast. Humanity persisting. That's what matters. 6 p.m., evening broadcast. Last session of the day. This is Daniel Rothman on 104.7 FM. Evening update for Saturday, day 3. Our community has grown. 5 people now at this location. We've secured significant supplies. Our broadcast signal has been improved thanks to Vera's technical expertise. We're reaching more people than ever. Emily speaking. We want to emphasize community organization. Willowbrook has shown that large groups can function effectively. Communication between survivor pockets is happening. We're not isolated anymore. We're connected. We're cooperating. That's how humanity survives. Quinlan's turn. I've been reading the messages we receive. There are hundreds of you out there, each with your own story, your own struggle. I want you to know that your voice matters, your survival matters. Don't give up. We need everyone who can make it through this. Ruben's practical. Security update. We've improved our defenses. We recommend noise traps for early warning. Secure multiple exits if possible. Don't get cornered. Always have an escape route planned. Stay alive. Vera wraps up. Technical note, our signal has been boosted. If you're on the edge of our range, try tuning in again. You might be able to hear us now. We're at 1004.7 FM. Still broadcasting, still fighting. 7 p.m. Broadcast complete. We're settling in for the night. Temperature dropping again. We're bundled up, sharing body heat. 5 people in a small space actually helps. Combined warmth. Ruben's taking first watch. I'm on second. Then Vera, Quinlan, Emily, 2 hours each. Everyone gets 8 hours of rest. It's organized. Efficient. This is how communities function. I'm lying down, trying to sleep. The floor is hard, but I'm getting used to it. Exhaustion helps. Sleep comes quickly. I wake to Ruben shaking me. It's 9 p.m. My watch shift. He's reporting quiet night so far. No activity on the security feeds. Noise traps haven't been disturbed. I'm taking over. Ruben lies down, asleep within minutes. I'm monitoring feeds, scanning radio frequencies, listening to the building. All quiet. This is almost peaceful. The calm of routine. Knowing my role. Having a community to belong to. 2 hours pass uneventfully. Vera takes over at 11 p.m. I sleep again. Sunday morning, day 4. I wake to daylight. Quinlan and Emily handled the last watch shifts. Nothing significant to report. We're preparing for the morning broadcast, eating light breakfast, drinking water, checking equipment. 6 a.m. We're on air. Good morning. This is Daniel Rothman on 104.7 FM. Sunday, day 4 of the crisis. Our group is stable. 5 people, adequate supplies, secure position. We're continuing our mission of maintaining communication and supporting the Survivor Network. We spend 2 hours sharing information, updates from various survivor communities, practical advice on resource management, discussion of the government timeline and what happens after 2 weeks. 8 a.m. Off air. Time to rest and plan. Ruben suggesting another scavenging run. The 13th floor still has supplies we couldn't carry. We should get them while we can. I agree. We're going back down. Same team. Ruben and I scavenging. Others guarding the studio. 8:30. We're on the 13th floor again. Returning to the offices we hit yesterday. Loading backpacks with more supplies. It's methodical. The fish. We're clearing out the break rooms completely. Taking everything edible. Everything useful. Medical supplies from first aid kits. Tools from maintenance closets. Whatever might help survival. 3 trips total. We're shuttling supplies upstairs. Building a substantial stockpile. We now have a month of food for 5 people. Maybe more. This is security. This is breathing room. We're not scrambling anymore. We're established. 10 a.m. Supplies secured. We're organizing everything. Creating an inventory system. Vera's using a notebook to track quantities. Professional organization. Quinlan's asking what we do with our time now. We have supplies. We have security. What's our purpose? Emily answers. We help others. We broadcast. We share information. We maintain hope. That's our purpose. Quinlan seems satisfied. He needs purpose. We all do. Survival alone isn't enough. We need meaning. 11 a.m. A message comes through on the emergency band. It's from the National Guard checkpoint. Not the soldier from before, someone different. Official communication. Attention survivors in the quarantine zone. This is Captain Desmond Fairchild. National Guard. We are establishing limited supply drops for organized survivor communities. Communities with 50 or more people can request supply packages. Contact Military Frequency 487. Drops will begin in 72 hours. This is a one-time offer. Register before Tuesday at noon. Supply drops. The government is acknowledging organized communities willing to provide limited support. Willowbrook qualifies. 330 people, they can request supplies, so can a few other large groups. But most survivors are in small pockets. Like us, 5 people doesn't qualify, we're on our own. Still, it's something. It's recognition that people are surviving, that organization is happening. Progress. 11:30, we're discussing whether to try to reach Willowbrook. If we could make it there, we'd be part of a community large enough to receive supply drops. Better long-term security. But the journey is dangerous. Miles through infected territory. 5 people traveling together would attract attention. Make noise, be vulnerable. Ruben thinks we should try. Vera's on the fence. Quinlan's opposed. Emily's uncertain. I'm thinking the risk is substantial, but the potential gain is significant. Access to government supplies. Larger defensive force, agricultural production, better long-term survival prospects. I'm making the decision. We scout the route first, use the security cameras and our elevated position to map infected movement patterns. Plan the safest path. Then we decide whether the journey is feasible. Everyone agrees. Cautious approach. Smart strategy. Noon. Afternoon broadcast. This is 1004.7 FM with important news. The National Guard is offering supply drops to communities of 50 or more people. If you're in a large group, monitor Military Frequency 4087.3 for registration information. For smaller groups like ours, this doesn't help directly, but it shows the government is acknowledging survivor organization. That's progress. We're spending the broadcast discussing community building, how small groups might merge to reach the 50-person threshold, how to establish communication between survivor pockets, how to organize for long-term sustainability. It's forward-looking, hopeful, exactly what people need. 1 p.m. Off air. We're beginning route analysis, using binoculars to observe the streets, trying to map infected concentrations. They're not distributed evenly. Heavy concentrations around former shopping areas, hospitals, apartment complexes, lighter presence in industrial zones, parks, residential side street. Willowbrook is approximately 6 miles northeast. The route would take us through mixed terrain, some dangerous zones, some potentially manageable areas. Ruben sketching a map, marking infected concentrations, identifying potential shelter points along the way. It's methodical, professional. He's good at this. 2 p.m. We've identified a possible route. It would take about 8 hours of careful travel. Moving at night might be safer, less visual detection, but also more dangerous if we encounter infected. Harder to see threats. Day travel means better visibility. Easier to avoid infected, but we'd be more visible too. Easier for infected to spot us. No good option, just varying degrees of risk. We're tabling the decision for now. We have supplies, we're secure, no immediate need to move, we can plan carefully, make the best choice possible. 3 p.m. Vera's made more improvements to broadcast equipment. We can now receive on more frequencies. She's scanning, finding other survivor broadcasts. There are several small stations, individual operators, people like us trying to maintain communication. One's broadcasting from a suburban area, family of 4. They're sharing local information, and others from a university campus, students barricaded in a dormitory, broadcasting to other students. We're part of a network, multiple voices, multiple perspectives, the beginnings of a post-collapse communication infrastructure. 4 p.m., Quinlan's organized all the messages we've received, categorized by location need, resources. He's created a database of sorts, tracking survivor communities, understanding the landscape. According to his analysis, there are approximately 40 documented survivor groups in our broadcast range, ranging from 2 people to 330. Total documented survivors, maybe 2,000 people, out of 3 million. The death toll is catastrophic, but 2,000 is better than 0. 2,000 is the seed of rebuilding. 5 p.m. Evening preparations. By now it's routine. Windows covered. Barricades checked. Weapons accessible, noise traps monitored. We're efficient, a well-oiled machine. 5 people working together seamlessly. Ruben comments on it. We make a good team, different skills, different perspectives, but we function well together. He's right. Despite knowing each other for less than 48 hours, we formed a cohesive unit. Shared trauma and shared purpose create bonds quickly. 6 p.m., evening broadcast. This is 1004.7 FM. Evening update for Sunday, day 4. We've identified multiple other survivor broadcasts. We're part of a growing network. Communication infrastructure is forming. Humanity is organizing. We share updates from various communities. Willowbrook's progress. Hospital survivor stability. New voices joining the network. It's comprehensive, informative. 7 p.m. Night falling. We're settling into watch rotations. Another quiet evening. Hopefully, I'm on second watch again. 9 to 11 p.m. I sleep first. Ruben's monitoring. Sleep comes easily now. My body adapted to the uncomfortable conditions, to the constant low-level stress. Humans are remarkably resilient. I wake to my shift. Ruben reports quiet night. I'm taking over. Monitoring feeds, listening, watch. The city is dark. Fire's still burning in some districts. The warehouses mostly consumed now. Just embers and smoke. I wonder how much of the city will be left when this is over, how much will need to be rebuilt from scratch. The scale of reconstruction is daunting, but humans have rebuilt from devastation before. After wars, after natural disasters, after plagues, we endure, we reconstruct, we persist. 11 p.m., Vera takes over. I sleep again, dreamless. Just rest. Monday morning, day 5. I wake feeling almost rested. The routine is working. The organization is functioning. 6 a.m., morning broadcast. We're consistent now, reliable. People can depend on us. Good morning. This is 1004.7 FM, Monday, day 5. We continue broadcasting, continue supporting the Survivor Network, continue maintaining hope. 8 a.m., off air. We're discussing long-term sustainability. Food supplies are good for now. Water situation is manageable. But what about after the 2-week timeline? If the government doesn't intervene, if we're left to survive indefinitely, we need renewable resources, food production, water collection, medical supplies, none of which we have here. This building is a temporary shelter, not a permanent solution. Willowbrook keeps looking more attractive. They have the infrastructure for long-term survival. We have short-term security. 9 a.m. decision time. We're voting on whether to attempt the journey to Willowbrook. Ruben votes yes. Long-term survival requires joining a larger community. Vera votes yes. Better resources and security outweigh the risk. Quinlan votes no. The journey is too dangerous. Emily's undecided. I'm the tiebreaker. I'm thinking carefully, weighing options. Both choices have merit. Both have risks. I vote yes. We attempt the journey, but we prepare thoroughly, scout the route, practice moving quietly, gather supplies. We don't go until we're ready, but we go. The decision is made. We're leaving the radio station. We're attempting to reach Willowbrook. We're betting our lives on a dangerous journey for better long-term prospects. 10 a.m., planning begins. We need to prepare for an 8-hour journey through hostile territory. Food, water, weapons, medical supplies, multiple backpacks. Everyone carries their share. We need to scout the raid in detail, identify shelter points, places we can hide if pursued, places we can rest. We need to practice, moving quietly, staying together, responding to threats. Coordination is crucial. Ruben estimates we need at least 3 days of preparation, maybe 4. We're not rushing this. Lives depend on careful planning. 11 a.m. Message from Willowbrook. They heard our broadcast. They're aware we're considering joining them. They're welcoming, offering guidance on the safest approach routes. They warn the northeastern corridor is heavily infested. Suggest a more circuitous route. 8 miles instead of 6, but safer. We're adjusting our planning based on their information. Local knowledge is valuable. Noon. Afternoon broadcast. We're announcing our intention to reach Willowbrook. Not for a few days, but soon. This is 1004.7 FM. We're planning to journey to Willowbrook community, join the 330 survivors there. This means our broadcast from this location will eventually end, but we'll continue broadcasting from Willowbrook. The voice will persist. The connection will remain. We're explaining our reasoning, encouraging other small groups to consider merging with larger communities. Strength in numbers, better long-term survival. Messages flood in, people wishing us luck, sharing advice, some expressing sadness that we're leaving. We've become a fixture, a reliable voice. Our departure feels like a loss to them, but it's the right decision. We know it is. 2 p.m., continued planning. Vera's creating a detailed map using information from multiple sources. Our observations, Willowbrook's guidance, reports from other survivors. The route is complex, 8 miles through varying terrain. Urban streets, parks, residential neighborhoods, commercial zones, each with different challenges. Estimated travel time is 10 hours if we're careful, 12 if we encounter obstacles. We'll plan for 15 hours, give ourselves buffer time. We'll travel during daylight. Better visibility outweighs the increased detection risk. We need to see threats coming, 4 p.m. We're practicing movement, 5 people moving together silently. It's harder than it sounds, coordinating without talking, using hand signals, maintaining cohesion. Ruben's leading. He has the gun, the best tactical sense. I'm in the middle. Quinlan and Vera behind me, Emily's rear guard. We're moving through the office floor, practicing, getting better, building muscle memory. 6 p.m., evening broadcast. Last one from this location for a while. We're not leaving until Thursday at earliest. But the end of this chapter is approaching. This is 104.7 FM. We're preparing for our journey. We'll continue broadcasting from here for the next few days. Then we travel. Then if we make it, we broadcast from Willowbrook. The voice continues. The mission continues. 8 p.m. Night routine. We're well practiced now. Everything smooth, efficient. I'm on second watch again. The building is quiet. City is dark. Another uneventful night, hopefully. But even uneventful nights are victories. Every hour we survive is progress. Every dawn we see is triumph. Tuesday morning, day 6. We're past the midpoint of the government's 2-week timeline. 8 days survived. 8 more to go, assuming the timeline is accurate. Morning broadcast. Updates. Planning. Hope. The routine continues. The survival continues. The humanity continues. We're 5 people in a radio station, planning a dangerous journey, hoping for better tomorrow, fighting to preserve what makes us human. This is the apocalypse. This is survival. This is life now. And we're still here, still broadcasting, still fighting. 104.7 FM, still alive, still human, still hopeful. That's all that matters.